And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, Big John McCarthy is down in the dumps because he's got COVID again, but I am here and ready to do things. So stay far away, at least 6 feet, I would say. And we've got a ton of fights to talk about. We had UFC pay-per-view. We had World Heavyweight Championship boxing. We had the PFL. We had bare-knuckle boxing. It was good that I was sick because I just sat there watching fights all day long. It was not bad. How about you?
Well, I spent yesterday morning running around getting a package in the mail for somebody. So the time changed, brother. The time changed, but
it's horrible.
No, it was great though. It was a lot going on. I was trying to watch some of the fights in the car while I was driving around, and I was finally got established in some places and was able to catch some of the fights. I missed the bare knuckle boxing. I saw some highlights of it. I didn't realize they could go to a 6th round. I didn't know what that was. Someone said they went to a 6th round. I didn't get an opportunity to see that fight. I did watch the Usyk fight. Fantastic fight. Better performance, by Anthony Joshua. We'll talk about that as well. PFL had a couple barn burner fights. Great, and had a couple. Had some good explosive action. Bubba looked fantastic. Loughnane looked fantastic. Kayla does what Kayla does. And look, let's just be honest, man. The UFC, and I know I'm gonna catch some flack, but the overall card wasn't the greatest, but there was some standout performances in that card that were fucking fantastic. And
that main card had everything you could ask for.
Yes,
as a fight fan.
Yep. I mean, because there was some fights in the prelims, like, oh man, it was a little bit drug out, but then there were some great performances. And then we got to that main card, I was like, let's go. And they up until that Luke fight, I was like, okay. And then Luke it definitely wasn't his best performance, but let's just
in some ways.
Where do you want to start?
Here's where I want to start.
This show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag brings you some of the best betting odds across the world. Use our promo code weighing in. Use that QR code right there that Podcast Dave is going to put up for you. If you guys used our QR code and you guys made a deposit this last weekend, they give you a little extra money with your first initial buy-in. Now, look, I've already said this 100 times. I'm going to say it again, though. You have to bet your winnings one time to withdraw your money after that. Go to mybookie.ag. Use our promo code weighing in. I want to thank you guys for supporting us, this podcast, and the Weighing In podcast.
We made a huge error.
Yes.
About not talking about certain people that meant a lot to us that have passed away. And I want to talk about Leandro Lo, and I want to talk about Jean LeBell, because both of them meant something special to both of us. I'll let you start with Leandro Lo because jiu-jitsu-wise, you were close to him. The guy was unbelievable. What a great fucking guy. Great spirit.
I wasn't extremely close to him, but I had the opportunity to hang out with him a little bit, out in the night scene a little bit. I've had the opportunity to train with him,
He did the night scene a lot, just so you know.
Yes, he did. But he did it right, and
yeah.
He was someone that just loved to be. He had the energy. He loved to be around other people that had the energy. He was one of those guys that he enjoyed his life, and he wasn't going to let anyone else dictate what he was going to do, and he enjoyed it. And
you said the one that I was going to say, dude, if you're going to talk about a guy that just enjoyed life, enjoyed everything that he did, and when he did it with everything he had. That was Leandro.
But it's so funny because I know a lot of athletes, or I know a lot of people, right? That, and not to mention, he's a good-looking son of a bitch.
I didn't like him for that.
Yeah, he just had a swagger about him. He was carefree. He was careless about how you felt about him, and he just went about his business. But one thing you couldn't take away from him was his desire to win, and it didn't matter what he did, prior to his competitions. He'd be out hanging out, dancing. He could be at a club getting down. But he came out and delivered some of the best performances and a lot of my good memories, a lot of my best memories of jiu-jitsu matches. It's sitting in the pyramid down in Long Beach or watching people compete, online was fucking him. He had that about him. I mean, I know like he's competed against, guys like Buchecha, who was one of my teammates when I was with Checkmat and those guys. But he was so much more undersized than Buchecha. But fuck, they had some good goes, man. And you could just tell the athleticism from both of them, the strength from both. And they had a bond and a relationship that they really enjoyed being around each other. One of my other good buddies, Philip Pomoski, actually trained with him quite a bit, significantly, like because they were around the same size, same strength, and they were fucking just dogs back and forth with each other. He was extremely good looking. Had a swagger about him, was someone who didn't like to lose. He was phenomenal, multiple time world champion. He would have been even more of a multiple world champion had Buchecha not been there in the absolutes. At the same time as him, he was someone that needs to be admired. And we just talked about this last week or the week before. I said, the word legend's thrown around way too much in this sports. But when you talk about people that he wasn't a big guy and he just had, like, I look at Lucas Leite, but I know that Leandro's at a different level. I look at Leandro and I'm like, he wasn't a huge guy, but he had some of the best performances against some of the biggest guys. And he just delivered every single time. And when you saw how much he enjoyed his life, it's sad to see how it all happened. And if you guys haven't looked it up and done the research on it or seen how it all happened, it's a very sad situation,
Senseless.
It's ridiculous, just absolutely ridiculous. But I want to wish him and his family and everyone that knows him, his friends and his family, his close friends and family, thoughts and prayers, man. It's really sad. And I know that the jiu-jitsu community was fucking in an uproar. They were actually almost storming the fucking police stations down in Brazil. It just, but it's sad to see him go, and I'm gonna miss seeing him on the mat, man. I'm gonna miss it. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you with Gene LeBell.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring Gene up on the podcast before because it was like, first off, I don't want to start crying, but it's a matter of I've known Gene forever, and Gene was like, I used to call him my second dad because he's always giving me advice and always trying to talk to me and stuff. And you're talking about a guy whose life was amazing. And I look at it now, and Gene passed a little over 2 weeks ago now. Close to the age of 90. He was born on October 9th, so because our birthdays were like 3 days apart. So it was, I always, knew that it was real simple. And when my birthday's coming, Gene's birthday's coming up, and he was going to be 90, and he had taken ill, for a while. You didn't see him anymore because Gene was always at the fights. He always brought his wife Midge for a long time, and I used to joke with him, and I would tell him, I tried to train him to be a judge for mixed martial arts, and this is one of those ones where, look, no one knew martial arts more than Gene, but man, he would lock in on one thing, and that's the one thing that he was going with when he was a judge. So I used to give him nothing but crap. But this guy had a life, Josh, that people don't understand. He did everything. He is, the character of Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Quentin Tarantino. That character is modeled after Gene LeBell. Gene LeBell's mom owned the Olympic Auditorium. Okay, in LA. That Olympic Auditorium was built for the 1932 Olympics in boxing. And his mom owned it, and she would run, I want to say it was either 7 days of the week or 6 days out of the week. It was something close to that, but one day was professional boxing, and my dad used to take me down there all the time for the pro boxing. 2 days were professional wrestling, and Gene was part of that. Professional wrestling. I can't remember what was the region that it was considered and stuff, but he was one of the ones in charge of it and stuff. And, he was taught by guys like Lou Thies and some of the great Ed Strangler Lewis. These are guys that he actually was taught by. And, and I told everybody that came in contact with Gene when he would, be teaching, because he would come, teach at my place, or he was associated with Gokar Shivik. I'm gonna say it wrong. He was attached with Hayat-san and Gokar, and he taught there all the time. And he always wore the pinky, and he wore the pinky because he was in competition, and he threw a red shirt in with his gi to wash it, and the gi comes out pink, and it's the only gi he has, and so he takes it out there, and the Japanese are not happy, but he wears it and he wins, so it was okay, and he wore it ever since. He made all of his gis pink. He's the inventor of the pink gi, and he just did everything. He was involved in everything. He worked with Bruce Lee. He did have an infamous confrontation with Bruce Lee, and if you look at Enter the Dragon, there's the submission part with the arm bar and everything. That's Bruce Lee giving to Gene LeBell, because when Bruce Lee had the confrontation with Gene, it didn't go too well for him, and he wanted to learn. And that's where you got to give, these are things that happen in real life on the outside that people don't, see, but it happens. And that's why Bruce Lee became a guy that, hey, it's all about what works. And he saw that grappling works. And Gene LeBell was a maniacal, vicious bastard. Like I said, I would tell people, don't let him touch you, because if you were his uke, you were gonna get hurt. He was gonna torque you, man. It's like, I would tell guys, don't do it. He goes, I got to do it. And here's a guy that people would walk up to and say, I want you to choke me. And, well, he would choke you unconscious, and then he would take a cup of water and throw it in your crotch to make you think that you pissed yourself. And then as you woke up, you'd sit there and go, oh, man, did you have to do that? But that was Gene. Gene had the infamous supposed story with Steven Seagal on the set of a movie, and that was I think it was Out for Justice or something, but he did choke out Seagal. He did walk off of the set saying, I think I'm fired. He got sued for it. So if you asked him, Gene, what is it true whatever happened with you and Steven Seagal? Steven Seagal is a wonderful actor and a fine martial artist. That's the only thing he would say, because his lawsuit was he couldn't talk about the event, and he didn't. And he was special, and he was special to a lot of people out there in Hollywood. Thousands and thousands of movies you can see him in. He was a stuntman forever. He's just a wonderful human being, and I'm going to miss him. Sorry I took so long.
No. It's all based off of feelings. I've seen him in passing. I've never shook his hand, obviously.
Good thing.
Yes.
Double wrist lock.
I've seen him in passing I think I saw him at a UFC like way back when. I think it was a UFC, or we were at an event for a UFC. I can't remember. That was kind of the only time. And I'd seen him from across the room several times at some UFC events and some MMA events, but never actually had the chance to really meet him. He seemed like, from everything I've heard, he seemed like a really stand-up guy. I don't know him personally, so I can't really speak on it, but did remind me of the Marshawn Lynch thing when he said, I'm just here so I don't get fined. So his whole thing with the Steven Seagal thing, he's a fine actor and a great martial artist or whatever. That's fucking great. Well, it's hard, man. It's hard. This is life, and
it moves on.
One, Father Time is undefeated, and two is just careless, senseless things that happen to people, in life, and it's sad.
Yeah, let me please separate one thing here. Leandro Lowe lost his life way too early. He had so much more to do, so much more to give. The one thing I'm going to say about Gene is he was a winner, man. 89 years of a life that people would go crazy to have. That's called winning.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's jump right into. We're gonna go right to the UFC. The UFC was. We normally go in order, but there were so many fights. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Usyk. We're gonna talk about some BKFC, and then we're gonna talk about the PFL. PFL had some fantastic performances as well, as I already said. So I'm looking forward to talking about some of those fights. But let's go right into the UFC. John, take us away. Do you want to start from the main event? Should we jump right to the main event? Let's go.
Let's be honest.
This show is brought to you by ButcherBox. ButcherBox.com/weighing-in. ButcherBox takes the guesswork out of finding high-quality meat and seafood you can trust. 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork raised crate-free, and wild-caught seafood. Look, guys, the convenience of having this delivered right to your doorstep has been amazing for us during the COVID situations, as well as just now. Everyone has learned you don't have to go out to the shopping centers now to pick up food. I can have it delivered directly to my house. Get just what you want delivered right at your doorstep. Free shipping in the continental U.S. and no surprise fees. That means a lot because sometimes you get hit with that extra shipping fee you didn't realize. Look, let's enjoy the range and the high quality cuts that are hard to come by at the grocery store. All stuff with antibiotics normally at the grocery store. When you go to butcherbox.com/weighing-in, you can pick up your free range, organic, grass-fed, all of the things, wild caught. Those are all perfect things that you want to make sure you live a healthy lifestyle at home. Those are the things you want from butcherbox.com/weighing-in. What I'm talking about is it really comes down to what your preference is. I like to make sure that the food on my plate is clean. There's no antibiotics in it. There's no added hormones into it. There's none of that stuff on. All of this is all grass-fed, organic. And this is the hardest part to have delivered to your house with no expectations. This thing comes in a sealed, refrigerated box. I can just pop it right into the freezer and then pull it out. And when I'm ready to cook or when I'm ready to barbecue, look, to me, their flats are the best. I get their chicken wings. I let them thaw out. I put them out in the kitchen, marinate them a little bit, throw them on the grill. They're fantastic. And I love the fact that they're ready to cook right away. They're perfect for when I'm hosting people over at my house. Love having pool parties. The slides and the flats to me are the way to go. And that to me is awesome. So get 2 pounds at butcherbox.com, 2 pounds of free range chicken, organic chicken breasts for free in every order when you sign up at butcherbox.com/weighing-in. Claim this deal at butcherbox.com/weighing-in.
You know, this was that rematch fight, and we talked, you know, and it's partly the UFC, and it's not, I'm not blaming them. This is their job. They're doing their job. And it was only after this fight that I looked at Dana and I go, yeah, he's got it. He don't give a shit. He knows, because early on in Dana's career as the president of the UFC, he was always trying to match fights where he thought he could predict the winner, and didn't go too well. And he realized, because he modeled, you know, everything he was trying to do off of the WWE. Congratulations, podcast Dave, and Vince McMahon. And he did a lot of, you know, the way the UFC is built and the way it's set up is absolutely modeled after that. But the one thing that he couldn't do that Vince could was dictate who was going to win the fight.
The outcomes.
And I'm looking at this fight, and they built, you know, Kamaru Usman up, and I want to give Kamaru Usman such credit that, you know, he was, you know, they're trying to talk to him. He goes, pound for pound, there is no pound for pound, and he's right. But the UFC builds that up because it helps them promote, and I don't blame them for building it up. And they build up, you know, we talk about all the time, the word legend, greatest of all time, GOAT, it's all said way too much. It's overused, but they use it to sell. And I'm watching as Leon Edwards climbs over the cage, and I look at Dana, and Dana's, you know, ecstatic and reaching out, and I'm going, yep, he's a winner, and you're a winner too, because you don't care. No. This only leads to another match, a trilogy fight, more money. You won. Way to go, dude. And I looked at it, and we said Leon Edwards has a good chance in this fight. Doesn't mean that he was the favorite. He definitely wasn't the favorite. But even on our, you know, weighing in on the odds, we both picked, hey, I would take Leon Edwards in this fight because he does have a chance of winning this fight. As the fight went on, first round, he looked great. You know, he takes Kamaru Usman down. There was a guy named Josh Thompson that said, don't be surprised if Leon Edwards tries to take Kamaru Usman down. He does. He falls right into mount. He gets the back. Kamaru does a great job of defending the entire time. And I think it kind of, you know, it kind of woke Kamaru up a little bit, because one of the things we talk about is you've had that fight against him and you know what you want to do. And it's hard to get up for every fight. it's hard to be the guy that everyone's always shooting at, where he has that target and you've got a target on you, and it's tough to put the target back on him. Yeah, you do it as the fight starts to go, but it kind of woke him up. He comes back. He just starts doing exactly what he needed to do to win the fight. He was taking Edwards down almost at will near the end. And then, man, the 5th round, I was texting you and I was telling you, he cannot give ground. He must hold his ground or move Usman backwards. He's got to move Usman backwards. It's the only, as soon as he started moving him backwards, look at what happens. And that was a setup kick. He did that. There was nothing that people are going to say, oh, lucky. That was not lucky. That was all set up. It was a beautifully orchestrated, left high kick, and he hit it well. We just talked. Who did we talk about just recently? I was going over about doing the same thing. And I said, you're seeing more and more guys take, and normally we'll talk, and in training, we'll throw a right hand, left high kick. We'll throw a left hand, right high kick because it's the way your body transitions through. And more guys are now starting to take and feint out with their lead hand, halfway throw just to cover or to parry just a little bit and throw the same side kick. And you're getting guys dipping. And I do think you watched him. He's hitting the knee and he's hitting the leg with those low kicks. He was just getting a pattern where Kamaru was getting used to it and starting to take his hand and just sweep it away. And you see it starts to sweep away, and you see his hands starting to move in that fashion. And he brought it up high and well placed, big power. And this is the whole thing. Anybody can go out. You get hit in the right spot, you're going to go out. No one's chin is unbreakable.
John, there's one MVP in this fight. Just one. Leon Edwards' fucking corner.
Oh,
if you don't have a corner like that, you got the wrong corner. We have seen too many times where we've seen fighters' corners say, "Oh, it's close, but I think we got it," or you won that round. It was close. Yeah. No. You fucking lost that round.
Rocky, what are you doing?
Get your shit and let's go. Yep. You waited how many fights and how many years to get back at this guy, and not just get back.
You ain't gonna get back if you lose this.
Now you're in an even bigger scenario situation. He was trying to get under his skin after round 2, and he couldn't do it. He just kept plugging away, kept getting after him. And eventually in the 5th round, I think Leon realized, shit, this is already the end of the fight.
It's end.
And it happens that fast, everyone. It happens so fast. You're in there. And it doesn't matter if it's a barn burner of a fight, like with the Rockhold and Costa fight. It could be a barn burner of a fight, and you could be exhausted. But realistically, at any moment with any type of getting rocked or any type of excitement that goes on, hitting you with a good shot, all of a sudden it rejuvenates you and that adrenaline rush comes back again and you can get that finish. Leon had a little extra left in the tank, and I want to give credit where credit's due. The MVP of this whole thing was really his coaches in his corner. His brother was Fabian, who was yelling and screaming from the side. His coach was yelling and screaming from the side in his face between rounds. Wake the fuck up.
Yep.
This is your chance. You need corners. You need people like that to let you know the reality is your title shot is about to slip away in 5 minutes.
You're letting it go.
You're letting it go. And I'm going to toot my own horn because you tooted it for me a little bit, and I want to just pass. I went through every fucking comment on our show last week, and I said, hey, this didn't age well. Leon Edwards took him down. Everyone said, there's no fucking way he's taking him down. There's no way. You even watched the fucking sport? And I said, hey, did this fucking age well for you? And I just put a smiley face and a wink of an eye. I thought it was great. Guys, I'm just giving you guys a hard time. I give 2 shits. I have no skin in the game on who wins this fight. I love both fighters. We're going to see a third fight.
Yep.
We're probably going to see an automatic rematch. Because if anyone deserves one, it's Kamaru Usman deserves
This is what we talk about. Yep. Here's the scenario. Yes, he deserves an automatic rematch.
Absolutely. Not to mention he was trying to beat or tie Anderson's record.
But
yes,
he does need to take some time.
Yep.
Man, it should not happen here until the summer of 2023.
Oh, that far? Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I guess we were about the same. I was thinking like probably March or April.
If you're thinking about it, he should be taking at least 3 months off.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can, do little things, but no real fucking sparring or anything like that. Not get knocked out the way he did. And so you're talking September, October, November, December, close to start your training. Now go into, January, February, March. Okay. April.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking March or April,
Yeah, March or April. March or April I'm good with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think March or April. But look, overall, let's talk about the performance though.
And one thing, because you were talking about his corner, and I know Dean Thomas got kind of blasted for what he said.
What are you
but
talking
he was
about?
Right.
He was fucking exactly right.
I say, as soon as anyone can say, oh, you said that he was, he has given up and everything. I saw people fucking put stuff. It's like Dean Thomas was absolutely right in what he said about Leon Edwards. Is he's not paying attention to his coaches. He's looking down. All of those things. Look, those are all the things that I always looked for. You would see a fighter who was intent on being good in the fight, active in the fight. Their eyes go to their coaches. And there was the moment where he said it, but if there was one thing that was off, his one coach, the guy that you're talking about, who was, yelling at him the most, he did grab him and shake him. He shook him. And Leon turned his eyes towards him and looked at him. And that might have brought him back to that fucking thing. That's what you're talking about with his coaches. But that when he sits down, he's looking down, his other coach is talking to him, he kind of brings his eyes up, he looks back down. That's not what you want to see out of your fighter. And I think that possibly that little shaking instance with the one guy, the bald-headed guy, I can't think of his name. He's with him in all of them, but that's part of it. Sometimes you can bring him back, but when Dean said that, I was like, his body language is saying, I just don't have it.
I've said that fighters, this happens all the time, by the way. This doesn't just happen. This happens all the time. Fighters are okay with just losing a decision. It's still an L next to your name.
Yep.
That's the thing. Like, they're okay. It's almost like a win for them. They tell themselves it's a win. That if they just get through the fight,
some type of win out of this.
Yes, my win is to not get finished.
Yes, I went the distance.
No one cares.
Well, it goes back to the old Rocky Balboa thing. Apollo Creed. Think about it. He lays down in the bed next to Adrian. If I could just go the distance, if I could just make it there with the champ, they would say I'm not a loser.
That's a good voice there, buddy.
Thank you very much. Yo, Adrian, I got it.
Wow. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to you guys, man. I've had those moments where I was like, you know what? Just get me through the round. But then, like I tell the Pat Healy story all the time. He takes me down in the third round, and at that moment, I'm like telling myself, it's okay. You're hurt. Like, I had 2 broken ribs in my sternum. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. And as I'm telling myself that, years of training, my body's like trying to get back up to its feet. There is something in these guys that they feel like they can win. Maybe it was the shake from his coach that said, hey, look at me, do this. Like, something happened in that 5th round. He wasn't fighting great in that 5th round. But he started coming forward, and he had a little bit more of an output, because in round 2, 3, and 4, he had just shut down. He had moments, but like, he was waiting for Kamaru Usman to get off first. He was waiting for, and there was this is the other thing, John. What frustrated me the most watching Leon Edwards last night, I'm not gonna take anything away from Usman, was Leon would stuff the takedown and get his back. He would break and he'd turn off the fence, but then he would let Usman circle back around and put his back to the fence again before he would move out.
Yeah.
I watched that happen time and time again, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, you literally just got off the fence, circled, now you're facing him kind of side by side on the fence, and he would just stand there. And then he would let Usman circle him back around and face him, put his back to the fence. What are you doing? Like, that is the number one thing to get away. It's not just break grip. It's about getting back to the center of the cage, making him work from there, using your speed, your lateral movement. Leon's got good footwork. I didn't see any of it last night. He's gonna have to make some tweaks. Yeah, he's gonna have to make some tweaks in his stand-up game plan. I know he focused a lot on stuffing takedowns, and that worked. And I believe he focused a lot on getting wrestling takedowns, because the way he hit that double unders right to the body lock and the outside trip, you could tell that he'd been working that for a while.
Oh yeah.
And that was money for him. But as they got sweaty, it was harder to control the double unders. And then he couldn't do it anymore. And Usman's wrestling, as we all know, is fucking fantastic. Kamaru Usman last night looked like an animal. He looked like he couldn't be touched after the first round. Yeah. He looked like he couldn't be touched. I was like, oh shit.
Once he got into that zone of he was looking good. And look, you can't take anything away from him.
No,
he's still a phenomenal fighter. You know, he is just a guy that got caught, and it happens. But if you're Leon Edwards, there's so much for you to go back to, look at, and make changes that can make huge differences in the fight for you. So this wasn't one of those, it's like if Leon had thrown that in the first round and put Kamaru out, he's going to go back and he's going to think, everything I was going to do was perfect. He's going to go back with the same game plan, and Kamaru Usman is going to go and beat him. Now he's got a lot of information that he can go back with and go, okay, I need to shore that up. I need to fix that. I got to stop that. I got to do this. There's a lot of information out there for him. Kamaru is going to come back and, I can't always read off of him doing the same thing over and over again, but he really went back to the game plan that worked for him in the first fight, and that's taking him down and pounding him out. He was on his feet a lot more in this fight because he feels much more comfortable there. But, Leon, as the guy that won, has a ton of information that he can go back with to make himself better for the next fight, which is absolutely going to happen.
Here's the other thing, is I want to toot Trevor Whitman's horn as well. Not just it can't be one side on the corners. Trevor Whitman, after the first round, said it's, hey, not a big deal. We've got 4 more rounds. Don't worry. We're going to plug away at him. We're going to fuck this guy up. Yeah. And that's exactly what was happening.
He said, we're going to fuck this motherfucker up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what was going on. He got in Usman's head. Usman is a believer in him. You could see the difference and the confidence in Usman, not just because he's the champion, because the belief into that coach, into what their game plan is and how effective it was working up until that moment.
And he
made one mistake. And here's the other thing. How difficult is it, John? You know this. You've been around the game forever. I mean, fucking since dirt. I mean, how hard is it to maintain being a champion for that amount of time?
It's the hardest thing there is. I tell people all the time, they're like, well, no, because now you know. No. Man, the simplest way that I used to tell people is, okay, I want you to think about, especially older people, that they don't get it. I mean that when I say older people that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s that watch the sport, they get it when I say it much quicker. Young guys will never get it because they haven't been there. But it all comes back to, being, when you are young and you want all these things, what's important to you. This is what I want to go get that. That's what I want. And then you work your ass off and you go and you attain it. And then what happens? Well, nothing. You attained it. You as a person, there's nothing that really, you got the job you wanted or anything like that. When you become a fighter and you start going up this ranking system or these levels of different promotions, and then you get that title fight, and then you attain that title, Josh, let's be honest, how much is thrown your way?
Yeah.
People, and I don't want to say normal people, but normal people like, me, you have no fucking concept of what is thrown towards that fighter. And at the age of 30, 28, 29, 30, 31, how you deal with that. I tell people, I don't think I would have dealt with it well either. I wasn't mature enough at that time to deal with that kind of influence, that kind of things that are coming my way, that, that freedom, that, you can do anything you want. It's hard for someone to deal with that in the proper fashion. That sometimes is the start of the downfall of a lot of guys. And some guys, they work their way through it. It's learning how to deal with it. Some guys are so good, they make huge mistakes, do really stupid things, and continue to win. Okay, but they're the rare exception. Kamaru, I'm not saying has made any of those mistakes. I think he's done a great job with, keeping himself fairly much tied down, intact, and smart. But it's very difficult to be that guy with all these things there. You kind of forget what brought you to that party, if that's the party you like. Well, it's the fighting, and it's being good at it. You've got to maintain that same, intensity, that same, attitude towards it. Not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, John, you and I don't have skin in the game whatsoever. We don't care who the hell wins. We don't care about the betting odds. We give you guys our advice. We try to give the best breakdowns we possibly can. I give two. I have trained with Leon, so I got a little love in the skin in the game there too. But I'm also friends with Ali, and Ali manages Usman, and I like Usman. I
feel bad for Ali because I know that crushed him.
It crushed a lot of people. I don't know if you saw the video of the front row. There was Henry Cejudo, there was Gaethje, there was Moreno, there was guys that were there in that front row that know him, that know Usman, and they were just in shock. And it's one of those moments where when your friend or you're someone you know and you're close with loses after having such a dominant performance. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Usman ran away with this fight. Oh, after the first round, it was a runaway.
You got to be honest. Joe and Dan they're talking. Dan's giving him his obituary.
I thought that was a great line, by the way.
It was, and it was a great line. And then he took it back. He says, I was writing his obituary, and they were, but they weren't wrong.
No.
You got to be honest about what you're seeing. And Kamaru was running away with that fight. It looked like it was going to be, depending upon, the fifth round could have been. And let's go to open scoring real quick. This is what could happen. Okay. You have this fight and you have this fighter who knows I am up this many rounds. I know I lost the first one. I've won the next three. All I got to do is get through this round. The first time that Kamaru Usman took backward steps basically is in this fifth round.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was taking it off, but we'll say that he was, okay, I'm going to just be defensive. I'm just going to take my time. This is what can happen in that open scoring. And that's why you're looking, there's good and bad. But yeah, I didn't blame them for what they were saying as far as their commentary. It was right. Usman was walking away with it. The worst he would have gotten was a 48-47 win if it went to a decision.
I was expecting, and let me be honest, is when the fight hit the ground the first time, I was like, holy shit, he took him down. He took him down nicely right to the mount. Then he turned.
I was right.
Yeah. But then you could see that you could tell though that he was working on takedowns because he kept trying to go to the double unders. He kept trying to get to the body lock and lift. And then Usman got keen to it after that. I think in the beginning in that first round, he didn't believe that Leon could take him down. And when it happened so fast and so quick, and then he got right to mount, that was the worst part. He landed right in mount. And then when he went right from mount, and then he was able to get to the back, get the body lock. Then I started going through. I believe Usman's only loss is by submission, right? I believe it's guillotine.
By choke.
Yeah, by choke.
No, by choke, yeah.
By rear naked or a guillotine?
I thought it was rear naked.
Okay. I thought it was by a guillotine. But regardless, though.
I think it was his second fight ever.
Yeah, it was by submission. He lost. And I was like,
Josh Thompson moment.
How much was he able, I was like, how much better has he gotten? Because he'd never been on his back, ever.
Yeah.
In the UFC, he'd never been on his back.
This is a guy that, he doesn't train off his back.
Doesn't need to.
Why would he? There you go. This is why, people will say, I've heard people say, Josh said Dan Cormier never ever even trained off his back. I go, why would he? I go, you know what it's like to try to put him there?
Nah, it's too much work, man. It's too much work.
That's not the place for him to train.
I was expecting after the first round, I was like, Leon's going to have, a good second round. But then he came out flat. I wonder how much of that had to do with the altitude. And where do they fight the third fight? Sorry, not the second, but the third fight. Where do they fight that?
London.
Do you fight it
Gotta
in
be
London
the O2.
or do you fight it in Birmingham? He's from
I think
Birmingham.
it's got I know he is, but
know.
it's got to be the O2 Arena.
It's the same thing. Pretty much, Josh.
What?
It's the same thing, pretty much.
No, it's not.
The distance wise, yeah, it's a little.
Dave, it's not the same thing. Dave,
Damn,
if you've never
you would
thrown a
think
fight,
being
have you
from
ever
that
thrown
region-
a fight in Birmingham, and have you ever thrown a fight in London? It is not the fucking same thing. See, that's a total casual fucking comment right there. It is not. Let me just tell you, it is not the same thing.
No, it's not. That's like saying Manchester is London too.
Or
Then why are you even suggesting?
Or
Birmingham
Dagestan is
if
Russia?
London's that much better.
or Dagestan is Russia.
Or no, Chechnya. What does that have to do with Russia?
I'm just laughing. No, when you guys were getting in that argument the other day about whatever this country was, that was Russia.
He goes, what does Chechnya have to do with Russia?
Well, it's like a part of Russia.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, it's a republic of Russia.
No.
So it's technically not a country.
Dude, you have lost your fucking mind.
You guys are great.
Okay,
Look,
you have lost your mind.
Before we get off on this tangent, before you guys get after each other like we did in text all night last night, and I eventually came out on top. Okay, I was handing out 10-8 rounds last night just to podcast Dave though. It was fucking great.
I'll give it to you. You definitely had him.
Yeah,
you had him against the ropes.
he was fucking owned. It was done. I gave him the fucking Leon kick.
He was doing good for a while. He was coming up with some good ones.
Done. But where do you do this fight? You say London. I would agree with you. I agree with you, London. But if you were to do it in an alternative spot, where would you do it?
Let me ask you this. Before I say the alternative spot, and I'll give you another one. But you had one English champion in your entire promotional history. That's Michael Bisping. Bisping won that title in Los Angeles, a place where he lived, basically. Costa Mesa is just down the stretch. So he wins that title in Los Angeles. Where was his first defense? At London.
I couldn't tell you.
Dan Henderson, too.
Oh,
that was in London.
Wow.
Or was it man? But it was back in England.
Okay.
So
it would make sense. It would make sense because here's the thing:
a huge fight for them. Huge, impact for their European, contingent. You've got the champ who is, English. That's where it's got to be.
I'm going to go back to what you said about Dana White. Because it's funny, you noticed the same thing that I saw, and I'm going to go. That's going to kind of correlate to what I'm saying or relate to what I'm saying with the England thing. Dana White doesn't give a fuck who wins.
No.
Before we used to think, oh, he wants to be this, he wants to be that.
Well, before he did long ago, but not,
you could tell. You could tell back then.
He got
He
smart.
has now removed himself out of the equation. He has made guys wait longer, like he did with Leon. You want to know why? It gives him a little bit more of a thirst. It gives them I'm here waiting. Give me something, and it worked. It worked in this situation, in this scenario. Doesn't always work, but it worked in this situation, this scenario. Now, what Dana has also done very well is he has marketed guys or been able to find fighters that have performances like this where it shocks the world, or they just have a style like Conor McGregor that is entertaining to the public. And then what he does is he just floods that market with fights, or he floods that market with advertisements and marketing, and then they take over that market. The UK market for the UFC needed this because think about this. PFL is sliding in there. Bellator's been there for the last 3 years. And I'm being honest, it's been really good to us. Now they have Leon, and they go ahead and they start doing more fights there. That's going to steal from some of the other promotions their viewership, because not a lot of these people, not a lot of people have a ton of money to go to every event that comes in their area or in their country. And for them to go ahead and travel there, it's going to be more difficult. Now that Leon's the champion, they're going to go there. If he's able to beat Kamaru again, now you can keep flooding it there, keep going to different areas, and they will come to watch. No different than how Ireland came to watch Conor all the way in Vegas, or wherever Conor fought. They would come. I think you're going to have not quite the appeal, obviously, that Conor McGregor had, but Leon is going to pull. He is going to pull from other areas of the UK when they do shows there.
How many shirts do you think they're going to have that say, look at me now?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Great.
That fucking line and some of the things that he said, not bad.
No,
not bad at all.
Fantastic, John.
Fucking A. That's what I'm talking about. Not bad. For a guy whose emotions were out there and stuff, man, he said a lot of really just clickbait, perfect things for you to go off of. And, talking about coming from a trash background and living in a wood hut and all that stuff. Hey, you got someone, because the dude's a classy guy. You know him. I know him. Yeah. He's a super nice guy. Very respectful. His brother's the one that's a little bit more out there and just being the snapper, man. The one that, will, say something smart. But both guys, great guys. And man, it's so good to see a guy like that make it. All right, so let's say congratulations to the new welterweight champion in Leon Edwards. You deserve that. Kamaru, you are a classy, great champion. You're obviously going to get a rematch. Good luck in your next one. But Leon, way to go, dude. Big win.
Yeah, but let's talk about the fight there. And this is not because he's my boy. Not
you're
because
he's my
boy.
People are going to say you're a homer.
No, but this fight stole the show last night.
All right, so growing up, cereal was always one of my favorite things. But as an older guy, I started getting away from all that stuff. But since I've got grandkids and they love donuts, I bring them donuts. Their parents get mad. But now I can bring my grandkids something that's great for them. And that is a cereal that has protein in it. Josh, you know all about having kids and having the like of cereal, but you don't give it to them because all the carbohydrates. Now there's protein, right? Yeah,
this is amazing because you're that grandparent that most parents hate. You send them to the grandparents, they give the kids full of sugar, and they send them back home to you. Podcast Dave has the same type of problem with his kids. You want to find a healthy alternative. This Magic Spoon is amazing with protein, and you don't have all the junk and the sugar in it. It's fantastic, easy, and on the go. You can have it dry. You put it in little baggies for them to take in the car. You can also have it wet. You put in a little bit of milk. You can use oat milk. You can use almond milk. All of those things are for a healthy breakfast for the grandkids and for the kids like Podcast Dave have.
And the best part, I'm telling you, Magic Spoon is delicious. I eat it now. It is so good. I do exactly what Josh is talking about. There's a variety pack we're talking about. They have cocoa flavor. There's fruit. There is the peanut butter, which I think is fantastic. And the frosted is really good too. Each flavor is outstanding. I like all of them. The big thing is each pack only contains zero grams of sugar, 14 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar. We're talking about you can have cereal without all the carbohydrates anymore. That is huge.
Only 140 calories a serving. It's a keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. John, you can't ask for much more in a cereal. I'm just being honest. I love Magic Spoon. It's quick and easy in the mornings. When you're on the go, you can take it in your car with you. It's fantastic.
MagicSpoon.com/weighing in. That's what's going to get you there. And then you can use the weighing in promo code so you can get your discount, $5 off of your order. I'm telling you, Magic Spoon, get away from the Kellogg's crap. Get away from all the stuff you buy at the stores. Protein in your cereal. No carbohydrates, basically. No sugar, definitely. This is the way to go, Magic Spoon. Weighing in. Use that promo code, MagicSpoon/weighingin.com. Go there now.
This is the fight. And don't get me wrong, the knockout at the end with Leon and with Usman, that definitely is what people are going to talk about.
Yeah.
But this fight, honestly, people forgot who the main event was. People forgot Jose Aldo Merab were even on the card because the build-up to this fight was all over. The press, the media, this fight is what really brought a lot of eyeballs to people wanting to pay for the pay-per-view. They thought, I think a lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of casuals, a lot of Karens, they all thought that it was going to be just another Merab either dominating or Aldo getting the knockout or leg kicks or whatever, and Luke getting knocked out right away in the first round or in the first 30 seconds, and they thought that Usman was just going to run away with it. Everyone thought they had the answers. And let's be honest, Aldo Merab turned out I thought Aldo was going to have a better performance. I thought he was going to have more output. I thought he was going to actually come out in the third round and push the pace and really try to knock him out or try to get him out of there. He didn't do any of that. He had some good time knees. All of those things. That fight didn't pan out the way that I anticipated it panning out. This Luke fight, I have to be honest. I got to be honest with everyone. You guys, this is the Luke that I've always known. This Luke. People never gave him credit because he was good looking, because, you know, the way his interviews were, just the confidence, the cockiness, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
But this lead up to the way that this lead up to the fight, this is the Luke that was pre-Weidman. This is the Luke that I saw every day in the
Very
gym.
good. Very good call.
The Luke that he trained his fucking ass off. People don't realize when he fought Weidman, it was just him and I in the gym nonstop, and Dwight Grant. It was us three. Like I was literally his grappling partner for that whole camp, because that just so happened that we fought I think it was in January. He fought either early February, and then I fought January, I believe. We were the only two. It was our fights. That was it. So like we had each other to train with. It was miserable having to fucking grapple with that guy. He's an animal when he gets on top of you. He's nasty. There was moments after we would train. We would train for 2 hours. He'd come in a little bit early. He'd hit mitts with Hobb for about 35, 40 minutes. Then we'd train hard. He'd spar with Dwight Grant. He'd spar with a couple other guys that were amateurs at the time. Then we'd grapple 3 to 5 rounds, because we both had 5-round fights. And afterwards, he'd be out in the middle of the street, fucking, you know, sweaty, disgusting, just fucking running his sprints. A long 2-hour-long session. He was the first guy to ever bring in a real nutritionist to AKA. He was the very first guy. He brought up, I want to say it was him that brought in Dan Leith, or maybe I think it was him that brought in Dan Leith, and he used him and we all piggybacked off of that and used Dan Leith and their performance, their nutrition performance company. He was the guy that he always went the extra step in making sure that every little thing was crossed off. My cardio, done. My mitts, done. My grappling, done. He was that guy. And my nutrition, done. You know, everything that he did was calculated when it came to his camp. This is the Luke that I knew, the one that put everything into every camp and had the this was a confidence Luke. This wasn't a cocky Luke. This whole camp was confidence. He believed that he could win. He believed that he had all the tools. He believed that he did everything. He crossed everything off the list and was going to get that win. Because the Luke that lost to Bisping, the Luke that lost to other people after that wasn't the same Luke. And I even said that a long time ago, John, when we first started doing the show together.
Yeah.
I had said that wasn't the Luke that I knew. I knew the Luke that beat Weidman. I knew the Luke before that got to that title, the one that was hungry and thirsty. This is the Luke that I remember. You guys can say whatever you want about him, but I'm sorry. He did every fucking thing last night that showed who his real character is, who he is as a person, who he is as a fighter. He's a fucking dog. I've known that he's been a dog forever. There wasn't... what lost him, I think, that second round, because I thought I had him win in the second round, was the way he looked, the fatigue. Like he did,
no doubt about it.
He did the Trevor Prangley,
Oh.
and Trevor Prangley is my best friend in the whole damn world. He did the Trevor Prangley.
We're calling it the Prangley from now on.
I'm calling it the Prangley from now on, man. The fight with Jeremy Horn, he lost that fight because he looked exhausted. You know, and then this fight though, that was Trevor Prangley lost that fight. But with Luke looked exhausted, but he landed the harder, cleaner shots in that second round. It wasn't until the growing shot when they separated and they came back. The judges forgot. There's too much time. He looked so tired. He looked exhausted. He must have broke his nose in that first round, because it seemed like every time he got hit in that nose, he would look away and go, fuck, like, it hurts so bad. Yep. And if you don't think it hurts, ask Rory McDonald. It's not a pleasant situation. I've had my nose fractured. I've never had it smashed and broke. And Luke looked like it was fucking broke. You actually texted me. I think his jaw's broke.
The way he was holding his mouth.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to breathe. Well, he was trying, and I was like, I just said he might have broken his jaw. And it was like, God damn, and everything you're saying, I've known Luke a long time, and his entire come up in Strikeforce and what he was like back then. And then and just like we talked about with all the things that come your way. Well, when you look like him and you get those same things, it's even worse. I'm just being honest.
It's funny, John. A lot of these people at home, they'll never understand what it's like to be good looking. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I don't even understand what it's like to be that fucking good looking. This son of a bitch. I put a tweet out or a text out. I said, this is leave your lady at home night. Don't bring your girl to come watch these two guys fucking fight. Oh, yeah. Leave her at home. You don't want her seeing these guys. Then you're going to be paying a lot of money in pay-per-views every time Rockhold and fucking Paulo Costa fight. Leave your girl at home. Leave her at home.
Yeah, that is the
it's
truth.
Oscar De La Hoya effect, right?
Oh, my God. And look, he was that good at one time, and he was that talented the entire time. But he just kept building on top of it. It got to the point where, look, he had fights with guys like Tim Kennedy when Tim was really good, tough, and he made, he just broke Tim down in the fights. Jacare broke him down, and you look and you go, man, he is so good. And I say it all the time, and it's so hard to get people to understand. I'm going to go with Luke broke his nose. That hurt him. Paulo broke Luke's nose. That hurt him. But he was good for about 2 minutes of that fight where he wasn't starting to become exhausted. After about 2 minutes of that fight, he was starting to get exhausted. You could see it. And that's part of an adrenaline dump. Part was the altitude. It's not that he wasn't in shape. It was everything. Wanting to do so good, and he did. He started off looking good, man. He came out, he was looking good. And I tell people, it's the worst feeling in the world to stand across from someone that wants to tear your head off and has that ability and know, I can't lift my arms up. I'm exhausted. I can't move my legs. And to know that now it's not that you just have this for 3 more minutes. You have this for 13 more minutes. And to feel that way the entire time, and he did, and make it through those 13 minutes. Ungodly attitude, desire, freaking just the worst feeling in the world. And he said, I'm not going to quit.
Yeah.
I will not stop. And look at that. That had an effect on Paulo. Paulo got tired trying to put away. They were both throwing big, heavy shots at times. And Paulo touched his chin multiple times. And so if you're going to say Luke doesn't have the same chin that he had when he started, I'll agree. But his chin was back. It took it. Yeah, he got hurt.
Yeah.
But he took it. And so I want to praise his desire so much because Mark Coleman used to do that. He would take and he would put both hands on his knees at times. He got so tired. And I'd be standing there saying, don't do that, Mark. Don't do that, Mark. Because, all you're thinking is someone taking a kick and their elbow popping the wrong way or anything. And it's like, don't do that, Mark. And I would feel so bad for him that he was that tired. Mm-hmm. But then I would be thinking, you're not training the right way. I can't say that about Luke.
Yeah.
Mark Coleman was a stud. He was just an incredible competitor, but he would get that tired sometimes in fights. He would do that. And then I saw Luke Rockhold doing it last night, and I was like, oh my God, that's just, I know where you're at. And I've been there, and I've never been there with a guy that's that dangerous, trying to take my head off. Dude, I understand if you say I can't go anymore. And no. I thought Jason Perillo did a great job at times in the corner along with Henry Hooft.
Yeah.
They were saying, look at, sometimes you just gotta, hey, and you've got this, and they're rubbing. And they knew, man, he it's all spent. But he went back out there, and that second round, he hurt Paulo Costa multiple times. Paulo did not really hurt him in the second, but he looked hurt because he was so exhausted.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, in the end, I think they forgot everything that happened up to that one point. and then the fight shifted off of the stoppage.
Yeah, there was only like a minute left, I think, after the stoppage, a minute 20 or something like that left after the stoppage of the girl.
Paulo looked way better in that time lapse too, and that's what they saw. And they remembered seeing Luke look so bad. So I actually had it. I probably would have gone 29-28.
Yeah.
For Paulo, because I thought Luke hurt him so bad a couple of times, hurt him really well. The one part where. And you were talking. We both have talked up Luke's ground game, and it is phenomenal. But it's a top side ground game.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's not a bottom player, and so
he is in the guard is good, but he never got
good
there.
He's good when he gets his fucking butterfly hooks.
Yes, he is there too.
Okay, but when he only had the one, he was stuck, and so he's never been that great bottom side guy. He's not the guy that really can fucking swing around under there. But when the third round and Paulo goes down and Luke goes after him, and you look and you go,
I was deflated after that.
Oh, dude. Well, because hey, it's everything he has, and he goes after him. There, there's just the body parts just don't work the same. You can't stop yourself. You can't balance. The base isn't there. Yep, and he slide right over the top. And he comes out, and I went, and that just says right there how exhausted you are. I understand, man. Yeah. And I loved that fight. I don't want to take anything away from Paulo Costa. I thought Paulo Costa fought beautifully at times. I thought he kind of got caught into that, you hit me hard, I'm going to hit you hard thing. I thought there was a point, and it was really perfect. It was going into the third round. Perillo told him, stop trying to knock him out. Just touch him. If you touch him, you'll knock him out. Yeah. Just touch him. Just keep touching him. And how many times have we said that about fighters? We go, like, when you try to knock them out, it's not gonna, just keep touching someone. All of a sudden, they're going to fall because one of them is going to touch them in the right spot, and that's all it takes. And I thought both guys loaded up so much with a almost the I don't like you type of thing. I want to knock you out and show you exactly, who I am. That it hurt both of them as far as overall performance, how they could have played it out. But you can't take anything from Paulo Costa. He went out there, he took big shots. Guy's got a chin. Man, he took some big shots. He does that thing where you hit him to the body and he goes like, go ahead, go again. Dude, I love you for doing it, but we all know it fucking hurts. Okay, stop doing it.
I just
put your fucking elbow down to your side and fucking just say, yeah, I'm not going to let you do it again, but goddamn, you got balls, dude. Yeah. You really do. You're a stud of a fighter. I thought you fought with balls, and you put on a great performance. It was a really nice Paulo Costa to see from what we thought was happening after the Israel Adesanya fight and then the Marvin Vettori fight. It's nice to see him come back.
Yeah. And
have that type of performance. Because look, he fought a good Luke Rockhold. He fought a guy that was a dangerous son of a bitch, and he got the win. So
yeah, I look at that Paulo Costa. It reminds me a little bit of the Paulo Costa who fought Yoel Romero.
Yep.
The scrapper, the gamer to wrestle, to transition, to do all those things. Luke had a hard time getting the takedowns. He was struggling really to get the takedowns. He couldn't control the top position at times. I'm going to go back to the very beginning of this because I also want to talk about a little bit. I'm going to give a little trip into some of the younger fighters that are making their way up. If you guys are ever with Leon came out to Salt Lake City 2 weeks before because it was at altitude. Rockhold went out there, I think a week and a half before, something like that, because it's at altitude. A week and a half to 2 weeks is not enough time. I want to make sure everyone understands that. If you think being there, you need to be there exactly 1 month. And I'll give you the proof in the pudding is this. Cain Velasquez went out 2 weeks before when he fought Verdum in Mexico City. Verdum went out there the month before, almost 5 weeks. You want to know why? Because he had already fought there previously. I believe he fought Mark Hunt there previously.
Hunt. That's right.
And he said, I only went out 2 weeks before and had no effect. I felt like dog shit. He basically was like, I was dying out there. I was exhausted. He came out a whole month before, and look at the difference when you take guys that have good cardio. You take guys that are known for their cardio. In that same night that Kane lost to Verdum, I honestly believe that fight would have been completely different had the altitude not been
Kane got exhausted.
He got
a
exhausted.
guy that never, ever got exhausted in a fight.
Yeah, and you look at other guys on that card, Gil Melendez, Eddie Alvarez, both of those guys were exhausted. They're both known for their cardio.
Torres.
Exactly.
Angela Hill.
Someone shit their pants that night, I heard. They basically they got out of the cage. As soon as they got out of the cage, they were running to the back. They shit themselves. I'm trying to remember the story on who it was, but someone shit their pants that night. One of the fighters, because
I have no firsthand knowledge of that, and I will not repeat a story.
They got I get you, but it was I don't know who it was, but it was an altitude sickness. They ended up getting altitude sickness. Oh, you don't remember? You do remember, but you can't say. And I'm good. You're a good man. You're a good man. Yeah. See, me, I would have fucking thrown you under right away.
Don't do that.
I wouldn't have. There's no way.
What's the point? Yeah, someone did.
Yes. But Luke, there's a lot of things, a lot of factors that played into the exhaustion with Luke Rockhold. 3 years away, coming back, the adrenaline dump, the altitude, the guy he's fighting, the guy that just comes forward, the guy with big power, the guy that is hard to take down. He's fucking physically looks like he's an animal, like super strong. All the guys that he could have fought, that Rockhold could have fought, he picked one of the most dangerous guys. Especially now we got the motivated Paulo Costa. We got that guy, the one that looked like the one he fought Yoel Romero. Luke fought the best Paulo Costa we've seen since the Yoel Romero fight. That guy. And Luke did a great job. But like you said, I can't take anything away from Paulo Costa. He fought a good fight, came forward, stuffed the takedowns, made Luke pay when the opportunities were there. He had a ton of heart. He was exhausted as well. He was so tired. And there was moments where Luke had a little bit more left in the tank after the adrenaline dump and the altitude and the pressure and all the spinning kicks and all that shit. Luke would pull a spinning kick out of his ass in the middle of looking like he fucking was about ready to collapse.
Dude, he did that 360 spinning kick. I was like, where the hell did that come? You know how much energy that just took?
It's ridiculous. But it made for it really, to me, that fight stole the show. My buddy was watching the fight. I was over at his place watching the fight, and he goes, up until that, he's like, man, this card wasn't worth the money. And then Luke's fight happened, and he's like, this fight itself, I would have paid for just by itself, knowing the way that it came out. It got us pumped up for the main event. Yep. You know, it really did get us going. Like, it got us. We don't remember the fights that happened before. You know, I remember that fight, and that was a great fight. Just to think, John, here we are. What are we? We're an hour in already, right? Yeah, we're an hour in, and we've talked about 2 fights. Jesus. All right, look, we're going to stop rambling on. Paulo Costa, congratulations.
No.
Great thing.
Paulo Costa, congratulations. Luke, you saw Luke when he's up against the cage, and Rogan goes to him. I thought he was going to retire. He didn't, but I love he starts, and dude, there was so much emotion. I'm old,
No, he's done, John.
Huh?
He's done.
Did he say he was retiring?
He didn't say he's retired. He just said, I'm old. I'm stepping. He's like, basically, he's like, it's over. Like, I'm done.
Yeah. And
so
I mean, I just all of it. You just look and you go, hey, if this was the last one, thanks, bud.
Yeah.
I don't need anything more from you. I love the way you went after it. And I want to say this. Yeah, I know Dana said, oh, he's gibberish. Everything that Luke was saying, fucking right on. Okay, if you know this sport, you know what's going on and stuff. And the one thing he's so right about. He goes, look, this is about leverage. And when you have leverage against them, a la Conor McGregor, yes, they will work with you and stuff. And that's just part of it. When you don't have any leverage, they're going to force you or put you in that slot that is what works for them. And there is no give. And I'm not saying anything against the UFC. I understand why you're doing it that way. You got to run and maintain that machine. Let me say this, because everyone's going to sit there and say, I hate Dana White. I don't hate Dana White. I will tell you that Dana White is the greatest promoter that has ever lived. Okay? Take a look at all the big-time promoters you can think of. All right? Especially nowadays. So you got Eddie Hearn with fucking Matchbox. You got...
Let's not even talk about boxing promoters. They fucking suck.
Okay, but who puts on, think about this, as many shows in a year? Because we're not only talking about UFC pay-per-views, we're talking about UFC fight nights, we're talking about tough things, we're talking about Dana White Contender Series. We're talking about more fights promoted in a year than there are weeks. It's unbelievable. There's only one promoter name on all those. That's Dana White. There's nobody. And when he says nobody does what we do, he's right.
Yeah.
There's no one else that can do it. It's remarkable how many fights they're putting on. So, but to do it, you have to be in control of all this. And so they do pigeonhole people. They do put them in slots and say, hey, this is it. Take it or leave it. And until you have leverage, that's your slot in life.
Yeah, John, like everything Luke said leading up to the fight, and I figured people would discredit him because of, if he would have got knocked out, they'd be like, see, the guy's fucking, he knew he was on the way out. He just no chin, talk a ton of shit about him. Then he had a performance like he had, and the way he finished the fight by rubbing the blood in the face but that to me was, that got the crowd so fucking pumped leading into the main event. If you're Dana White, you're fucking must-watch TV.
I want you back.
I want you back. He's thinking to himself, right there, people are going to remember you for this. Doesn't matter
bet you,
the results.
Josh, I will bet you that Dana went to the back and said, hey, take some time. Some time, heal up. But God damn it, I love the way you went out there. I loved what you did.
Absolutely.
I love the heart you showed. Yeah. Let's talk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And so, but that doesn't take away from the fact that everything that Luke said is absolutely true.
No.
Absolutely true about fighter pay. Absolutely true about bonuses. I was more on the bonus situation where you're right, the bonuses could be more, but they're also considered bonuses.
They're a bonus.
Exactly.
Don't say anything about a bonus.
In terms of the contracts, fighter pay should be more. And I'm never going to deny that. But look, fighters sign contracts. They know what they're signing. They know what they need to honor that contract. If you don't like that contract, don't fight there.
Sign it.
Don't sign it. Don't fight there.
I agree.
This really comes down to every single fighter. Make a choice. Do you want to be famous in the UFC and make a little bit less, or do you not want to be famous and make a little bit more fighting in other organizations? Because those other organizations have to pay you more if they want to get you. There's no reason for you to go to their organization if you can make the same amount of money in the UFC and become famous. There's no reason, if you think about it. Shane Burgos has said, look, I'm going to put money first. He's going to the PFL. He could potentially, and also I heard that he's fighting at 55. He's not fighting at 45.
Yeah, one fight at 45, and then he's going to be in the tournament at 55.
Yeah, someone said that.
Okay, but that talk we were talking about, I'm not too sure he can do that and be successful at 45 because of how much weight he's dropping. 55 makes sense.
It makes sense. It does make sense. But he went where the money was. Luke Rockhold came in with an attitude. It's like, look, I'm doing my part. And John, you have 3 rules, right? Or not 3 rules or whatever it is about being a fighter.
Yeah.
Train hard, fight hard, and make the fucking weight. Those type of, I don't know.
Be on time, make weight, and fight your ass off.
And that's the biggest thing. And Luke did all of those things. He showed up. He trained hard. He showed up. He fought his ass off. He made the weight, and you can't ask for anything more. And then that's the Luke Rockhold that I remember. Paulo Costa fought a great fight. Tip my hat to him. Money wise, Luke was on point. Don't discredit what he said leading up to this fight just because he lost. That shit drives me nuts. Just because someone lost, or just because someone got knocked out, or so they got submitted. Oh, everything they said before that is bullshit. No, it's not that.
Hold on,
it's all true still.
I guess what he said to a reporter, I know who that reporter was, but
I don't.
What he said to the reporter about, Chito Vera is like, look, he's telling you something. He knows that guy, and that guy was not pleased with what you did. So he's telling you, do your homework, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that guy gave bullshit fucking
Don't sit there and try to justify it.
No, he did.
Yeah, you're doing it. Yeah. You're justifying it. Just say, gotcha.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? You're right. I fucking miscalculated. I screwed it up.
Yeah.
You're right. I got to do better. and leave it at that. I would have left
Let me
it.
make an excuse.
Yeah. No, there's no. Instead, let me fight you and argue to the bitter end. Now everyone knows you're a total dumbass.
I know his manager, Jason House. We're good friends. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Jason House isn't the guy you're talking about. When it's Jason House, then you can go with it.
Him and Chito are very good friends, by the way.
Yeah.
Like very good friends. And so they've got to know each other, since training at Ruka so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the media for you.
All right, let's go on to the next one.
All righty.
This is going to be a 5-hour show. I'm
Jesus,
I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
Look at my podcast day.
Yeah.
All right, we had Merab Dvalishvili against the man Jose Aldo. It didn't happen to be the fight. I thought Merab was going to be able to take him down since he takes everybody down. And I thought he would grind out a fight. I thought Aldo would have his moments where he possibly could, do some damage and keep it up. But I thought that Merab couldn't take him down.
Yeah.
I was very surprised by the fact that he couldn't and how good Aldo's defense was. But all that pressure, by the third round, Aldo was exhausted.
By the middle of the second, he was tired. Yeah. You could tell by the middle of the second. He was just, there was no output. We've seen Aldo shut down before in certain fights. He understands how much work and effort it takes to stuff the takedown. He understands he can't leave himself out of position. Andre Petinaris was telling him, don't strike, defend takedown first, then strike. Once you know you've already stuffed the takedown, then strike. That's what he told him in the corner.
Yeah,
at least that's what the translator said. So it was, don't overextend yourself. Don't get into a slug match because that's when you're going to get taken down. Defend the takedown first, then strike. And that's what Aldo did. This goes back to what I said with the Trevor Whitman and the Leon Edwards fight. You got to have corners like that are truthful with you or that are telling you what's going on. Like, hey, you need to. It doesn't matter if you defend the takedown anymore. You're fucking losing.
Yep.
And Jose Aldo should know that. That's the thing. Like, you fought so many guys at the highest level and just destroyed them and picked them apart and dismantled them, especially in this bantamweight run where you've come back. You've dismantled all these young guys. And to me, it felt like you should have known that you were down. Leave it out there. Let it go. Like, you have nothing else to prove. You were undefeated for over 10 years. I mean, like, we understand, like, let it all go, champ. Let it go. Yep. No kicks, no calf kicks. Like, he had one or two kicks. I mean, I want to see calf kicks. I don't care if I see the leg kick from him, especially against a wrestler. But he had a great combination where he threw the right hand. I think it was the right hand, left body shot, and threw the head kick. It was vintage Jose Aldo, but it was one time throughout the whole fight.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's like, if I was a betting man, which I'm not because I don't have a lot of money, I would have done the Jose Aldo take on this because he was the underdog. I would have had the calf kick being in effect, and I also would have had the combinations throwing Merab off. It was a 3-round fight, so I thought for sure Aldo would steal 2 rounds. He was so concerned about being taken down. He knew that Merab's cardio was good, and he was just defensive, and the corner wasn't helping him get out of his shell.
It's one of those. Everyone wanted to see him kick more, and I did, but I thought that the jab would be a big difference in this fight for him, and he never ever got it. Never even really went with it. Yeah. He waited. He was waiting for Merab to make that shot in, and then he decided what he would do. But again, if there's one bad habit a guy that knows how to fight so well has, he consistently goes straight back.
Yeah.
He just does not turn the corner for that lateral movement. It's okay to take that 1 step back. It's okay to take the 2 steps back. If you're taking a 3rd step straight back, you're not doing what you need to do. You need to change that angle so the guy now cannot go straight into you and catch you up against the cage. And that's what was consistently happening here. Take nothing. I love Merab. I think the guy is phenomenal. And I'm going to say this. I loved what he said.
Yeah. After
that fight, man. I'll tell you what, the respect and what he said about Aljamain Sterling, and everyone's going to think I don't hate Aljamain at all. I think he's a phenomenal fighter, but him saying, I came to America, I thought I was, I could beat everybody. I find this camp. He goes, and this guy, he showed me, how much I didn't know. I was an amateur. It was horrible. I got beat all the time. And I am the fighter I am today because of him. And you want me to fight him? That's not going to happen. He beats me in the gym all the time. And look I'm not saying, what happens in the gym there. I don't know what happens with them. But the respect that he paid to, that's a guy that you spend your life with. It's different than people realize. There is a bond that happens in that sometimes, I don't care about the title. My friendship and my trust and bond with this guy is way more important. Way to put it out there. I love that.
The question is going to get asked nonstop by reporters. I'm glad he said what he said, but it's not going to stop. They're going to keep asking him. The UFC is going to continue to keep pushing that fight because we're not going to pay you this amount of money to not fight for the title. You're either going to have to fight for it, or we're just going to we're not going to fight you. And they will fight him, but they're going to fight. They're going to try to have him fight the hardest and toughest matchups that they can possibly find for him, because until they get him beat, so they can go back down, because they don't want to continue to pay him what they're paying him. I don't know what they're paying him. In terms of what the but the Sterling situation, he is like John. People think that we don't like Aljo. I like to poke jabs at him, because he said some mean things to us, and I'm cool with that. Whatever. I get it. We have a podcast. People are I've had our own Bellator fighters, get mad at us for things we've said, because they see us and they talk to us, and they're like, "Look, guys, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say," and I got nothing but respect for Aljo in terms of his fighting, but I want to see, and I got no skin in the game. I don't dislike him. I just don't. I don't care who wins or who loses. I don't care who fights and who doesn't fight. It doesn't bother me. None of that stuff bothers me. People online don't bother me. People out in the world don't bother me. I have my own life, man. At the end of the day, we're all going to go back home and be our own people, and that's what's going to happen. Merab fighting Aljo, I don't care if you guys fight. It doesn't bother me. If you want to wait till Aljo loses, if he ever does lose, or if you want to wait until an interim title and potentially take that, and then whatever it is, that's all up to you guys. You guys talk about it as teammates. The media will not let this go, though, because, and I give you an example, was when I was after I beat Nate, Gray Maynard was ranked ahead of me, and then he lost to Nate Diaz. Not Nate. He lost to Grant. Neil Grant.
TJ Grant.
TJ Grant. He lost TJ Grant, but they wouldn't let that go. Yeah, Gray's your teammate. When you guys gonna fight? And then I went to go corner right after that fight. I went to go corner Khabib. And he was, I think, 21 or 20. He was 21 or 22-0 at the time. And they were like, "Hey, Khabib's undefeated. He's on a run.
He's your teammate.
He's your teammate." And I was like, "Dude, you guys leave it alone. Not to mention, I'm fucking almost 40, and this guy's fucking 19. It's gonna be a while before we fight." But there was always something. Ariel asked Khabib right after he fought, after I cornered him for the Pat Healy fight or the Abel Trio fight. He asked him, "Hey, Josh beat Nate. Josh, looking for a title shot. You're making your way up." He asked him right in front of me, "You guys gonna ever fight?" And I'm like, can't leave it alone. They won't leave it alone. They're gonna try to stir the pot. Go back in history in terms of the sport. John Jones with Shot Evans. They were looking for that fight just nonstop to the point where it broke the camp up. I mean, there's been multiple times, Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell. I mean, there's been multiple times where the media doesn't leave it alone because they want to get that fight, and to the point where it causes an issue within the camp. So Merab and Aljo, I mean, I know you guys are young. I know you guys are extremely talented. You guys are both good. Aljo doesn't want to hear anything I have to say. But, dude, just being honest, man, don't let them get between you. If you guys are good friends, don't listen to anything I say. Do as least amount of interviews as you possibly can talking about that. If they start prying and stuff, say, "Look, I have nothing to say. Next question." Because they will twist your words in a headline and clickbait.
Asked and answered.
Exactly. There you go. I'm just here so I don't get fined. All right.
Marshawn Lynch to the end.
Yeah. John, let's go through what fights through this card did you enjoy? I like the Tyson Pedro fight. You want to talk about the next fight, the female fight? Or did you want to?
No.
Okay, so Tyson Pedro, go ahead.
Budalova, look, coming back, I remember when she first got to the UFC, there was a lot of holes in her game. She's working at SBG in Ireland. I think they've done a great job. She's got a ground game. Now she used it.
Yeah.
Congratulations to her. I had not seen Wu fight before, so was this her first time in the UFC?
No, she's on a losing streak.
I had not seen her. There's some holes there that need to be.
She looked a lot smaller. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
she seemed smaller. She didn't seem physically strong. Like I don't know if she's in the wrong weight class. I don't even know what weight class this is, but she was. She seemed a little bit smaller.
When you say
go down.
physically weaker, noticeably.
Yeah, it was noticeable.
Noticeably in this comparatively.
Yeah.
So, I want to give it up for you. The Tyson Pedro fight was a fight. Look, I knew that what was going to happen when we talked about it.
It's tough though, John.
Oh no.
Tyson Pedro is going to be the real deal.
Oh yeah, especially at light heavyweight.
Yeah,
I think he's a player.
Yeah,
he's a confidence guy.
Yeah,
he needs confidence.
That's true.
And
but doesn't every fighter?
Yes, but some need to be brought along in a different fashion, and I think he does.
Oh, okay,
and he needs to build on that, and I think that's what they're doing. I think they see it. Nothing against Harry Hunsaker. Good guy, tough guy. Looked actually really good coming down to 205 and stuff, but it's just levels, and that was
Tyson,
a level he isn't ready for.
Tyson's got a good look to him.
Oh yeah,
he's got a country behind him. Good camp. Extremely marketable. Everything the UFC is looking for.
Yep.
Just give me a country. Give me someone who can talk on the microphone. Give me someone who has a look and fucking can fight. That's it. He checks all the boxes.
Yep,
now it's up to him. It's up to him to get the job done. You can't ask for anything more if you're Dana White.
Exactly right. Yep. I do want to talk about Marcin Tybura against Romanov.
Oh man.
Hey, man, I'll tell you what. Romanov went out in the first round and did exactly what we thought, and the altitude got to him. He was tired. This is what Tybura does. Marcin Tybura takes a lot of abuse at times and just sticks around in the fights. You go down his record, and there's many fights that he was losing the first round, and he comes back because he's just a damn, Timex. He takes a licking and keeps on ticking, man. And I'll tell you what, he deserved that fight. Absolutely. There was people saying, "Oh no, Romanov, nope." Tybura, Marcin Tybura, tough dude. He's a problem in the heavyweights because he's actually good everywhere. If you're a great stand-up fighter, you're better than him. If you're a great ground guy, you're better than him. If you're a great wrestler, you're better than him. But he's pretty good everywhere.
That's all you got to be.
That's it. And I'll tell you what, he's going to be around in the heavyweight division for a long time because you got to be really good and put him in bad spots and get rid of him early. Don't freaking let him back in because he's going to be standing there in front of you still slinging. Congratulations. I thought that was a great win by Tybura. It
was driving me crazy listening to DC and Rogan and Anik talk about potentially the first round being a 10-8. I was like, you guys just went through this whole judging thing. There was no damage.
No, they did not.
There was no damage. Like, don't get me wrong. The slams were beautiful. They were great. They looked fantastic. And the control.
But they didn't do anything.
But they didn't do anything. It was a big takedown. Okay, big deal. Like, it had it been two suplexes, like, on his fucking head where, he was like, but it wasn't. They were just, and I love all three of those guys. Honestly, I believe they are fantastic. They've gotten a lot better since the ruling. They've stopped talking about the scoring. They've stopped talking about the judging. They stopped talking about, but they also have now started giving credit where credit due, where it's a hard job to do. I think it's fantastic. Look, but the 10-8, the first round was not a 10-8 round. And I'm watching, but then, John, and I know as well, when you're there sitting cage side, sometimes it looks like an extremely dominant round, which it was a dominant round, but it wasn't dominant to the point where, noses were broken, jaw was broken, whatever, like, close submissions or, cuts everywhere. It wasn't that type of round. It was dominant in control. It was dominant in wrestling, but that's no different than, like you said, about switching positions from the fence to the ground. And that's it. This was one of those fights where Tybura was still there.
Yep.
The altitude, the cardio, all those things had an effect. Tybura is the guy that will just still be there after the first round, after he takes everything he has, and he'll just continue to just walk you down slowly. He fights at a steady pace. So if you can't keep a steady pace at a heavyweight division, which most heavyweights can't, they want to fight hard for a split second and then go backwards. Fight hard for a split second and back away. You can't do that with Tybura. He will slowly walk you down and make you fight at his pace. It's very uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable when you're exhausted. You know, like you said, you were talking about earlier with Mark Coleman. It's uncomfortable when somebody is pushing you around. All you want to do is put your hands on your knees. It's like, this sucks. You are pushing me to the point where I just want to just give up, put my hands on my knees and be like, screw this shit. Why did I sign up for it? But great job by Tybura. Great performance after the first round. Had a nice job. What other fights on here do you want to talk about?
Got to talk about Sean Woodson against Saldana with what happened, everything.
Jesus.
You know,
fucking rookie mistake.
It was a rookie mistake. It was not well
not
thought
mistake.
out.
Rookie mistakes. Yeah. Like, let's make it plural there.
Multiple. But this is, and a lot of times what'll happen, a lot of people are, upset with this as far as who won. Look, Sean Woodson got hurt. He got hit. I want to say it was a left hand that put him down.
It was a jab.
No, that was the second one.
Yes, okay, that's what I thought you were talking about.
The setup was a left hook that puts him down, and he does the roll over, and when he gets up, a jab puts him down, and then he does the knee into the head. Come on, dude. How many times do you have to be told, don't knee the head of a grounded fighter, okay? So it's there. So he's jumping all around while time is being called, and this is, and I said, well, let's see what's going to happen here, because the fight possibly can shift, because you got one guy in Saldana who thinks he won. He's jumping around. He's the adrenaline burst is out there. He's mentally, I've won the fight. And now you got to come back and fight again. And he ended up having to fight for the 3 rounds. Not an easy thing. He was exhausted at the end of it. But wow, he should have had a win there. He should have been able to. The round being you had told you that might be a 9-8 round. Anik had said that it could be a 9-8 round.
Well, I said it first, and Anik heard me.
Oh, okay, he heard you. So I'm sorry. That's why he put out the bad information.
I actually texted it to DC, and he probably showed it to Anik, and Anik used it.
and I sat there and I go, no, it's going to be a 9-9, and it ends up on all 3. But the real problem here is that as a split draw, was it a good decision? No. And here's the problem. I'm gonna put not on blast. I'm not going to put out names, but this is what happens with commissions. One of those judges is someone that was from the state of Utah. That is a person who he was a commissioner. Okay, he's never fought. He's never been part of anything. But as soon as you become part of a commission, all of a sudden, a couple things happen. People become know-it-alls about fighting, or they become tough guys. That person is no longer on the actual commission board, but now they're a judge. That was a judge of that fight. Nothing against the person. He's a good person, but he doesn't know what he's looking at. And he went with the wrong person, because that buggy choke that Sean Woodson put on Saldana, it was good at a certain point. It was tight at a certain point. And it was the biggest influence in that round because it controlled the fight. It almost had Saldana out. And he gave the damn round to the wrong guy. And you look and you go, so the judges, as far as 2 judges, they would have given it to the right guy. I looked at it and said, okay, but it should not happen in our sports. But this is what happens when you bring government in. It's wrong.
I mean, like, all those things aside, though, John, let's talk about the bonehead mistake that Saldana made. Like, that's really what it came down to. This fight should have never went past the second round. It should have been, or was it the first round or the second round that happened?
First round.
First round.
Should have gone past the first round.
He drops him, showboats instead of finishing him up. He could have got him out of there right there on the spot. That was one. Two is, then he goes out there and drops him again with the jab, and instead throws the knee. Slow it down, be controlled, get the finish. All of those things are bonehead mistakes. You haven't won shit. That's the biggest thing. You haven't won anything in your career. Nothing. What are you doing? You don't get paid by the minute. Stop showboating. Like, I get it when these older when the legends come out and they showboat a little bit. The fans were there to see them. Let them do whatever the fuck they want. These young kids, get it. I get it. Build it up. But one thing I can say, like Sean O'Malley, he's a performer, but he's a fighter. He's not out there fucking raising his hands, showing. He is a fucking fighter. He's trying to get someone out of there every single time.
He doesn't do anything that's not part of trying to finish the fight.
Exactly. And in this scenario, you can't allow somebody just to get back up after you had them on stanky legs. I mean, he was literally, when Woodson fell down, he was almost face down, ass up. And all he had to do was just follow up on the very first knockdown. All he had to do was follow up. Yeah. It wasn't there. It's a bonehead mistake. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the judges did, John. That fight should have been over after the first round. Let's be real.
You're right.
So,
here, I am bowing to you on that. You're right. It should have been over in the first round.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk about the Prangley effect in this next one because the Prangley effect hit both.
Yes.
AJ Fletcher.
It was a good fight, though.
It was a great fight, but it went too long because both guys were definitely hurt at certain points in it and stuff. Both guys showed a lot of toughness, a lot of grit. Lusa was definitely putting it on Fletcher for some of that. Then he got rocked. He was tired. I gotta give AJ. Look, you went after him. You gave it everything you had, and then you blew it out to the point you had nothing left. I actually had someone on Twitter said, what must a referee do when two fighters are exhausted and just laying there?
Let them get their breath.
What must a referee? Give them time to suck some fucking air. What the hell do you think? They're human. They're exhausted.
Says the guy from his couch and his fucking Doritos.
Dude. What the hell? I mean, wait, do people think that this is like, oh, you know what? You just, here, extra boost, The guy gave everything he had.
That's some shit that fucking podcast Dave would have texted us.
It just wasn't enough to finish the fight. It was like, man, what do you want from these guys? But I thought both guys fought their asses off. Tough fight. When you talk about looking exhausted, AJ Fletcher look beat, exhausted. That's why I said the Prangley effect. That's what we're using from now on.
Yeah.
But you got to really give it up for Amir Albazi.
Fought a good
that
fight.
That kid looked good.
He did look good.
That kid looked good.
He made Figueiredo look like he didn't belong in there.
Looked average.
Yep. Good fight.
So
that's gonna wrap up our wait.
Our very long.
Yeah. The Aori fight. I don't even know how you say his last name or how you say it. But anyways, that was actually a pretty good fight, man.
Yeah. Why was your guy you talked about?
Yeah. He no. He wasn't my guy I talked about.
Oh, I thought you talked about.
No. I talked about Uchegbu in
that's
PFL,
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But no, good fight, back and forth. I thought, I don't even know how you say his name, Aori. He had some good. He's action packed. Looks like he possesses some power. But in that third round, he got tired. You could tell the altitude got to him. And Perrin, I don't remember his name. How you say it? Yeah. But Perrin, he came on in that third round. Just wasn't enough. But it was a great fight. If you're looking, I said in the beginning of this, when we started talking about the UFC, there was a couple fights that kept me interested as we went along. Not all the fights were great. Okay, and we understand. I think everyone understood this was not a stacked card except for the three top fights.
But that's what a pay-per-view is.
I agree with you, John. I'm not disagreeing with that. But the fights, there was like one good. To me, I got into the Ari and Perrin fight or Perrin fight. Then I got into the Lusa fight and Fletcher fight because it was back and forth. And Fletcher had him rocked. The Woodson and
you were into Woodson
fight
and Saldana. You had to be
because of all the drama and the stupidity that was going on. There was good fights. Yeah, Tybura had me going because he got thrown around like a rag doll. So there was the fights every time. I was like, oh man, it's getting boring. Oh shit, here's a good fight. Oh man, this fight's not what I want. Oh, look at this, what happened. It was a night that kept me intrigued throughout. Great job by the UFC. Great job by the fighters. Tip my hat to you guys. Great performances. And if it is Luke Rockholds, which I believe it is his last fight, my brother, I love you. Great fight. You showed everyone the Rockhold that I grew up watching grow from the time you were young through the AKA days. And I'm gonna miss seeing you in the cage, brother. I'm gonna miss it, but I wish you nothing but the best. Love you. Let's go ahead and jump right into. You want to talk about Usyk first, or you want to talk about the PFL?
Let's go with Usyk.
Let's go Usyk. Usyk and Joshua.
Against Joshua. God damn.
Woo. Let's talk real quick. Bad decision. Split decision, really? Is that what we're doing
Holy
these days?
shit.
God, had me throwback, like old school boxing judging stuff, like just corrupt.
People want to talk
fuck.
about MMA having bad. Dude, when you have 12 rounds to make it wrong,
to fuck it
that
up,
means you're really bad.
It was so bad.
Because it wasn't a hard fight to judge.
No, I would say
There
round
was-
6 was the hard round for me to judge.
Round 6 was close. Round 2, I thought some gave Joshua the first round. I thought that actually Usyk hit him with the better shots, but they were both going to feel out. Round 2, I thought went to Joshua. I want to say round 6, I think went to Joshua. It was round 8 was really Joshua's. He was coming on.
Mm-hmm.
And then Usyk came back in round 9 and stuff. And I'm going, you may give Joshua 4, maybe 5 rounds in this. That's it.
Yeah.
Not and I really like Anthony Joshua. I thought he fought really well. I love the fact he was going to the body in the way that he was. I thought he fought a better fight by far than he fought Usyk in the first one. He's just having problems with the speed. He has problems with the left hand. He has problems with the footwork when it comes to Usyk because Usyk steps outside of his foot all the time. And when Usyk does throw that left hand, he connects with it a lot. And he gives him problems. And I thought it was a really good fight by both guys. I thought Usyk showed how tough he is. That dude, what really bothered me was the damn referee and that he allowed Joshua to do certain things. Dude, understand in boxing, you can't dirty box, hold and hit. That's Randy Couture. In MMA, it's allowed. In boxing, it's not allowed.
He was doing it a lot, John. He did it a lot.
Not only that, he's also pushing his head down and laying on him.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he's doing that.
Yeah.
Okay?
He's the bigger guy.
It's all trying to gain an advantage here. And what are you doing? Then he actually hits him with a hammer fist.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Oh man, John. I had Usyk winning 4 of the first 5. Then I had him losing the 6. I think 6 and 8 for sure. I think I leaned towards Joshua in the 7th. I want to say I leaned towards, but I don't think I think I gave it to Joshua. I had him losing. I think, anyways, it was like 1 or 2. I think it was 2. Gave it to Joshua, or maybe it was 1. I can't remember. And then, but then it was 6.
I had
and
like
8
160,
for sure.
112.
Something like that. But look, overall, the speed was definitely a factor. There was moments where Joshua was throwing, and you could see that Usyk would come out, he would turn and come out the corner, but then Usyk wasn't throwing a lot after that. Joshua was standing there facing this direction.
Oh, and Usyk
was over there.
Was to his left side.
Yeah, to his left.
All the time. And I kept on saying, why is he not taking that step and throwing that overhand left?
Yeah. And my biggest thing is, you know what was going through my mind the whole time? Dude, you do not want to fight Tyson Fury. He will fucking annihilate you with that type of footwork, except he throws off of all that. Usyk wasn't throwing off of that. That fight could have been ended. I wouldn't say ended, but it could have been a lot more of a difficult fight for Anthony Joshua had Usyk thrown off of those. You can see with the Loma being there and Lem being, and then they kind of work together, apparently, because they're both Ukrainian. He looked fantastic on the step out. Like Loma does, it just wasn't throwing off of the step out.
He was, exactly.
You've got to wait for Joshua to turn and start to throw.
And blast him.
Blast him, and he didn't do it, and he didn't capitalize on that scenario in that situation.
He created the angle. The footwork was beautiful. Yeah. He steps out. Here's your angle. Your guy has got to turn towards you.
Yeah.
Let it go.
It wasn't there. But I thought Usyk dug deep after those body shots in like the 8th round, I think it was. He got some big body shots. He took some more big body shots.
Body shots started making a big difference.
In the 10th or 11th, he took some big body shots again, but he still fought through it, finished the rounds hard. I mean, it was a good fight. It was a lot better performance by Joshua. It was neither one of these guys can beat Tyson Fury. I like Usyk.
So either.
Neither one of them are going to beat Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, even though for a big guy, he's a fast guy.
He's fast. He's got good footwork. He's got great head movement. There's one thing I got to say about Usyk. If you want to watch a guy that we talk about, get your head off the center line. Here's a guy that does it all the time.
Yeah.
He takes and he's moving that head off the center line. He does tend to go to his
inside
right.
Yeah.
His weak side with his head more often. And it's something that as a tell, if you were going to fight him, you might want to start to look and say, okay, I'm going to bring something that side every time.
Well, that's because it's southpaw versus conventional.
Yeah.
And so I think he goes to that side, to avoid, the shots. I get why he goes that way, go to the outside of the power. But he slipped on the inside quite a bit and then counter with the straight left. I saw him do that a couple of times.
I think that's part of why he brings his head off to his right side so much, as it sets up his left hand.
Yeah, it does. But what I'm saying is he actually slipped in towards the power and then through the straight left.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of times. And I was like, ooh, that's dangerous. But the speed was such a factor that he knew he could get away with it. Not every time, but occasionally. And that's what he did. He fought a great fight. And he dug deep. He had to dig deep. Joshua had a better game plan. Joshua came in better shape. Joshua worked the body. Joshua did a lot of good things, but there's one thing it's hard to beat speed, especially in the heavier weight classes. If you can't hang, I'm surprised Joshua didn't try. I know he was hanging on the head. I'm surprised he wasn't shoving him down more. I'm surprised he wasn't trying to clinch him and hold him and carry the weight. Bernard Hopkins made a whole career off of that. Punch your way in, land your shots, grab you, hold you, and hang on you. Yep. So overall, though, it was Usyk's night. Neither one of them, to me, is going to beat Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury he's not going to stay retired, but he'll be back. I just wonder who he's going to fight. That's what I want to know, who he's going to fight.
Yeah.
So
it should be Usyk, but
all right. Well, let's get
someone else.
Let's get into the PFL, Dave. We'll talk about BKFC or whatever at the end.
All right.
Go ahead, John. Take us away.
I know that this is hard to believe, but Kayla Harrison got a win. And is moving on as the number 2 seed, which is very important in this. So, she is the number 2 seed. They do not believe that she is the number 1 seed. She is the number 2 seed. It's like, shut up. Okay. Come on.
They got to figure out a different format.
Do we look at reality at all? I mean, come on. But she's your headliner, number 2 seed. I just look at this like, stop. I love the fact of what you guys are trying to do. Get rid of the bullshit. Okay, she's your number 1 seed. But Janrova came out fast, tried to use footwork. She landed 1 shot. Kayla just stood there, ate it. She ends up throwing the kick, and from that point on, Kayla flips the leg up, take down, did exactly what she wanted, with the way she wanted, moved herself into mount position, just pushes her head aside, takes the arm. Hey, she did what she was supposed to do. She dominated a fighter that she was supposed to dominate. She did. You can't ask anything more for her. The biggest problem is now, and this is part of what we were talking about earlier, she has got a rematch, a trilogy fight with someone she's already got 2 wins against in Pacheco. Pacheco's a good fighter. Larissa Pacheco's a good fighter. She's tough. She is the hardest competition that Kayla Harrison has ever fought. She's got 2 decision wins against her, so she hasn't been able to get rid of her. How is it going to be? And I know I have a feeling what you're going to tell me, but how do you get up for that fighter the 3rd time when you've got the 2 wins? That's going to be my question going into this PFL championship round.
You're exactly right. I was going to ask you, how does she get motivated for it? And the reason why she gets motivated, there's $1 million at the end of it.
I knew that's what you were going to say. See, that's what I was high said. I know what you're going to say.
I'm a money hungry whore, and that's what I am. And so when it comes to that, and then on top of that, I think she's done with the PFL. I'm not sure if they have matching rights like they established.
You can't carry matching rights all the time unless you went for more.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm just simply saying I don't know if they have it again this time around. I know that's why she didn't go to Bellator is because they matched. She couldn't go to Bellator.
Yeah.
So Bellator put a big offer in front of her. She was happy with it. PFL had the right to match. They matched. She went back. She had to go back to the PFL. She had to go. There was no way for her to leave. That was the contract. And I don't know if they can do it again. I'm not sure. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. I don't know. I don't know what the new contract says, but I don't think that she's going to leave. I don't think
Do you think they signed her to a 1-year contract?
Yes. I think a lot of these contracts are 1 year. Pettis's was 2 years. It was a 2-year contract. Rory McDonald's was 2 years. And then it was a 1 year, I don't want to say it was a 1 year extension. I think he signed one more. Yeah, it was 2 years. Yep. Yeah, Pettis is done too, is from what I understand. So he did the 2 year, yeah. There's 1 and 1 or 2. It was a 2 year. So I think she's got, that was it. Well, I think she leaves.
She's got one more.
I think she's got one more, and I think she leaves. And I think she gets the win. You know, it's gonna be a tough fight, but I think she gets the win. She's been fighting the same people. That's the problem with this. Is there's not a lot of people in this weight class, and when you have the same group that are in there every single time, you're fighting the same people. You get it. It's They are making little changes for you. There's not much changes you need to make for them. So they're gaining ground on you in the process of you just staying stagnant, not really motivated, and she seems very self-motivated, which she is, to be an Olympian, a 2-time Olympian.
Yeah, she is.
You know what I mean? You have to be self-motivated. I think she gets the win against Pacheco. It's going to be another probably to the distance fight, but I think she leaves after that. I think that's why there was such a play. If she signed a 2-year deal, then she signed a 2-year deal. Maybe she did. I think it was a 1 year. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was a 1 year. Anyways, that fight happened. She got a win. Great choke. Great. She did from the mount position. I've seen several. Shaolin Ribeiro used to hit it all the time from the mount position. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you got to dismount." Nope, not when you have.
No, you don't. Not if you got the right squeeze.
Yep. Next fight, Dave.
Brendan Loughnane versus Chris Wade was a great fight.
Best fight of the night.
Great fight.
Great fight.
Both guys brought it, but man, after about, I want to say 2 minutes, 2.5, we'll say the first half of the first round, Chris Wade was doing well. Loughnane got that feel of the range, and he started landing that jab, and it changed the fight, and Wade was never able to get it back. Loughnane just kept up with what he was doing. He looked great. He looked fast. He looked elusive. His defensive wrestling was great. It was his night. That's the Brendan Loughnane that I watched in Russia fight, who had his arm broken in a fight and continued on and won the fight. Just a tough, gritty dude who, man, he's got skills. He is a tough bastard, but he's got really good stand-up. Sharp, crisp, fast, accurate. All the things that you're looking for.
John, this fight, like you said, first 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, he was finding the range. He was figuring out Wade's speed. He was figuring out all the little details on how he was how he needed to approach the takedown. I think they did a lot of research on how Chris Wade shoots. And what they did was they kept doing what, John? Go ahead, say it. What did Loughnane keep doing? He kept switching stances.
Oh, so dude, the switching of the stances just annihilated Chris Wade as far as every time he would switch stance because he wanted to get to a certain leg out front so he could feel good. Loughnane, whoop.
Yep.
Switch stance.
And so what you're going to see, which I believe is you're going to see this fight carry over into the Bubba Jenkins fight, and he's going to continue to switch stances because Bubba Jenkins, like most wrestlers, like to shoot off of one preferable foot. Now, it doesn't mean they can't shoot off the other. They just choose not to, and it's a little bit more difficult.
Comfortable to one side.
It's more difficult when the punches are coming directly at your head, and the knees up the middle. Maybe you're not used to the setups as much from that side of the takedown. all of those things play a factor when you're going at live speed, fight speed in the cage, and Loughnane just had it locked in is what he had. It was amazing on how he was letting the jab go. He'd switch, he'd throw the straight left, boom, go back to his orthodox stance, throw the kick, come back, throw the combination, pump the jab. He kept Chris Wade guessing the whole time. Every time Chris would switch, he would switch. Every time he'd switch back, Chris was lost. He was like, oh shit. And I used this same technique myself against Gilbert Melendez in the third fight. Because I watched when George Masvidal fought him. When Masvidal fought Melendez, Gilbert, he just got frustrated. He didn't wrestle as well when you switch stance. When you switch left to right, the wrestling just changed. Oh, I can't shoot right now. Now what do? How does a straight left come in? All of those things play a factor on how these fighters close the distance, on what combinations they throw. When you go out there and switch it up consistently like that, it's like it freezes them for a sec. Not only does it freeze their offense, but it also gives you a chance to get your breath. You know if they're frozen. Now, if you go back to throwing just whatever combinations you think are going to land, because when you're a switcher, you have a handful of combinations that you like to throw from that stance. And then you go back to your normal stance because that's where you're comfortable at. You switch again, you throw one of your combinations, and then you switch back to your normal stance. So you're keeping them guessing, but in your mind, you're like, okay, I've already thrown this combination. I got this next one coming up. Okay, maybe I'll go back to the well. And you figure out which ones work well from those stances. And that's kind of what Loughnane was doing. He would switch his stance, land his combination, go back the other way. And he just kept Chris Wade guessing. And Chris, outside of the reach, was having a hard time getting in there because Loughnane figured out the speed was to his advantage and the reach. So he would land the jab, John, and by the time that Chris Wade would throw after his head got snapped back, Loughnane was already out and circled left and right, and the combination couldn't land. I expected to see Chris Wade walk away with that fight, and fuck, I was wrong. I was legitly wrong. I expected Chris to see the Chris Wade dominate the wrestling, get in the clinch, make it a dirty, grimy fight, get to the top position, and dominate the top position. Never happened.
No, but it was a gutsy fight by Chris Wade because things just weren't going his way. The guy hangs tough. He's never been finished in a fight. There's a reason why. He's a dog.
Yeah.
He has got nothing but fighter's heart in him. He fought his ass off, but you got to give it. Like I said, Brendan looked fantastic in this fight. Yeah. This is the Brendan that I had watched. This is the guy that he can win the whole thing. Yeah. He's that good. He's that tough. So
I don't know, man. Bubba's on a roll right now.
Yeah.
Bubba's been over the last 3 years been trickling up.
You know, they've trained together.
Semis, yeah,
I believe they've trained together, so there is a little bit. They know each other a little bit, so we'll see.
Yeah, but Bubba with the beautiful 2 suplexes right to the back and the submission. I'm not getting great job
right away.
Bubba.
Talking about, that's a lot of wasted energy, and they're right. Randy's right. It is some wasted energy there, but goddamn, it definitely puts it in your mind when you're the guy getting tossed. Oh shit.
Yep.
Okay, and right away, and this was the question, because Kudo's a good wrestler. I did not believe that he was as good a wrestler as Bubba Jenkins. I still don't believe that he's as good a wrestler.
He wasn't.
Well, there's people who say, well, he fought for he wrestled on national. No, I think Bubba Jenkins is the better wrestler. I think he proved that too. But Bubba Jenkins is a different fighter than what we were used to in the past because he was a pure wrestler before. He's much more comfortable with his stand-up. He believes in his stand-up now. He doesn't tense the same ways. And but when he gets into a wrestling situation, look, he's a handful. Very few people are going to out-wrestle Bubba Jenkins.
You're right.
He's that athletic. He's that fast, that good. And now, he's the full package. He's getting into the submissions and stuff. I know. I look at this fight going in. Obviously, Bubba needs to win the wrestling exchanges and put Brendan on his butt the most he can for 5 rounds. And Brendan needs to, use that jab and light Bubba up. That's his way of getting the win. But this is a great finals for him. I think the PFL should be happy with who they've got going there.
I think so as well. It's really going to come down to Chris Wade, though, was able to out-wrestle Bubba Jenkins the last time they fought. I mean, he landed the cleaner shots, but he was able to out-wrestle him. He was able to stuff the takedowns. He was able to get takedowns of his own, and he was able to outstrike him. Loughnane was able to stuff Chris Wade's takedowns and able to outstrike him. Bubba's got his hands full. And Bubba's getting closer and closer. Now he's in the finals. Last year he was in the semis. Now this time he's in the finals. This is his opportunity. This is his chance. Yeah. You only have a short period of time to win all that money.
Small window.
To become champion. Like it's
small
window. People don't realize how short it is. It's only like a 2 to 3 year span, 4 years. So when you see fighters like Jose Aldo and Kamaru Usman and certain fighters that have been maintained it for so long, 10 years, fucking crazy, right? This is your chance, Bubba, man. This is your opportunity. He's gonna have to seize it right now because it's gonna be a tough go moving forward, and especially when you've been so close so many times. Yeah. But this is his chance, man. Good luck to both of them. It's gonna be a great fight. Yeah. Any other fights on this card?
Well, we didn't talk about the Larissa Pacheco fight against. The reason why is she'd already beaten this opponent once, and it was a horrible fight. And guess what? It was horrible again.
John.
No. Freaking horrible.
Stop.
Horrible.
John.
It was like putting a punching bag in the middle of the damn cage.
She did her job.
She did her job. Who did her job?
Pacheco did her job. Walked out there, tracked after her, landed the straight combination, boom, boom, put her away. She did her job. She put her on her back foot and made sure that there was no respect. Great job by Pacheco.
Well, that's why I gave no respect right there. Come on.
I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. Any other fights on this card you want to talk about?
I got to, you know what? Give it up for, it was a horrible fight as far as the opponent. She came out, very confident, but Dakota, how do I say that? Dacheva? Dacheva?
Yeah.
Young girl, but she looks good. She's got talent. She's going to be fun to watch.
115 or 125?
That was at 125.
Yeah, 125. Good for her.
I thought she looked good.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our PFL talk. We are 2 hours in. Let's we'll do one or two news things real quick there. Podcast, Dave, what do you got? Oh, sorry. We got to talk about BKFC. My bad.
I think we'll just wrap up on BKFC.
No. We're going to do one news thing. Sorry, buddy. We're going to do one news thing. All right, go ahead.
All right, real quick with the bare knuckles boxing. Mike Perry has found his place.
Oh, I love it.
And we said this. We talked about this. Everyone's built for certain things.
Yeah.
And Mike Perry is a guy who he's not the most technical fighter there is. Let's just be honest, okay? He doesn't have to be. He's a brawler who could make a technical fighter try to brawl. He's either going to get lit up and technically, pieced up, or he's going to make it a dog fight and he's going to come out with a win. I watched the fight, and the knockdown in the first round is semi knockdown, but so it was a 10-8 round for Perry.
Nice.
MVP won the rest of the rounds. Just if you're going to look at it and say, just volume strikes. He cut Perry up, he lumped him up especially on the left-hand side of his face. I thought he actually won the rest of the rounds, but the judges didn't. So it went to a
6th round.
6th round, and I thought Mike Perry won that round. So if you had it even going into that one, Mike Perry wins it. I'm happy for him. I'm happy to see when a guy finds something that, man, he can grab hold of and make it his. And Mike Perry can make this his. He's got the right attitude. He says the right things. He fits in the role. Yeah, sometimes when people are going to look and go, he says, says horrible things,
Shut the fuck up.
Thank you very much.
Shut
this
up.
This is what Mike Perry was made for.
They all love Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen said some fucking horrible things, and Chael's my boy. Chael Sonnen said some horrible things, and shut up, guys.
Yeah,
Mike Perry, this is tailor-made for Mike Perry. I'm glad he's found a good home.
He was born for this.
They are taking care of him. He is their fucking breadwinner right now. I'm happy for him. I'm so happy. He just had a baby, last year? Good fucking for him. There's other fighters that I wish they would just accept the fact that they are not going to be world-class MMA fighters or world-class boxers, but this gives you a home, and they pay. They fucking pay pretty damn well.
Yeah. Well, they have to.
There's guys, look, there's fighters that I want, like Campos. I want to see him. Derek Campos. He's fucking tailor made for this or that Dorito chip shit. Okay, the Dorito chip ring thing that they did, the tryout. There you go. He was fantastic in that fight. Campos was. Mike Perry fought the same night. Great performances. Those certain fighters like those two guys are tailor made for this type of stuff. Just dogs come out. They lay it all on the line. They still have good chins. They fucking got the heart and the desire to be winners. I want to see it. I want to see these guys fight. There is a place in the combat sport world for this. And I'm happy that the BKFC is around, is giving these fighters an opportunity to make money when they know that, look, I'm not going to be a MMA champion. I'm not going to be a boxing world champion. But you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out here and have some fun against people that are either at my level or not my level, whatever it is. But I'm going to make a lot of money, and I'm happy for him. I'm stoked for him. I'm glad. And if you guys didn't get an opportunity and a chance to listen to his pressers leading up to this, Michael Venom Page, he's like, "Oh, your head looks like a ball sack with my hairs growing out of it." I was like, it was fucking hilarious. The back and forth, and then when he did the whole at the face off with the whole
bisexual, my fists are bisexual,
my fists are bisexual, and then the whole thing where Page does the, I don't know what the hand thing. He did thing. That. It was all broken. It was classic, man. He did a great job. He's got a place. He's got a home, and they love him. They need to love him. Good stuff.
Yep, they do. All right, let's go, Dave. News, quick.
Josh, did you have something?
Yeah, we had something. Remember, there was a fight announced. There was 2 fights announced.
Okay.
So let's talk about it.
Oh, yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't. You didn't have something specific. That's why you said that. Okay.
No. Carla Esparza goes against Weili Zhang. I feel bad for Carla. I know I shouldn't say that.
Sorry.
It's just stylistically, I don't think it's a good matchup for her.
No, not that Weili Zhang's been working with Henry Cejudo, and Henry's going to game plan the shit out of it. Plus help her with her wrestling and how Carla hits the takedowns. And I think I got Big John's COVID through the microphone here.
There you go. Sorry, dude.
Oh man, super spreader. Oh shit. Carla Esparza is a good wrestler. She's a fantastic wrestler in the female market. Phenomenal, but I think that Weili Zhang is the better athlete.
Oh,
I think that Henry Cejudo will have her ready. I think the camp that she was able to work with Henry before, and now the camp into this one coming up, they've got plenty of time to really break Carla Esparza down step by step and how she enters her takedowns, what she throws it off of, and how she finishes them, and how she controls the top position. Don't expect Weili Zhang to settle on the bottom if she does get taken down, and I would potentially even see Weili Zhang get the takedown because there's no real submission threat for Carla Esparza. So she doesn't care which way she puts her head. She doesn't care which way she gets the takedown. She doesn't care. Body locks, inside trips, all of those things you should expect from Weili. Weili is going to I don't want to say she's going to dominate the fight, but she's going to shut down what Carla does, and then Carla's going to look a little bit like Leon Edwards in between round 2 and 4. She's going to start backing up. She's going to start putting her back on the fence, and then Weili's going to start to run away with this. And I love Carla Esparza as a person. We're not talking for people. We're not talking about how I feel about her as a person. We're talking about fighting. Yeah. And so this fight's going to be a very difficult fight for Carla Esparza.
Let me ask you this. What does this say as far as Weili? Now, she just beat Joanna, yes. But she lost to Rose twice. Rose loses to Esparza. Is it because the fight was that bad?
It was that bad, John. We just talked about Dana White has no skin in the game. Right. He doesn't. Dana White has no skin in the game, doesn't give a shit, but he cares when the fights suck.
Yeah.
He doesn't care who wins. And this makes sense. If Weili
hard to sell when the fight sucks.
Yeah, and if Weili beats Carla,
she'll put the Weili Rose.
Then you put Rose back in there, and you have the Weili Rose again for the third time. You know, and both those fights have been spectacular.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Good point.
Okay, and then the next fight, which I got a ton of flack on because we are both Bellator guys, and I'm, teammates with this guy, or used to be teammates with this guy, is Usman Nurmagomedov getting announced that he signed the contract to fight the title against Patricky Pitbull for the title.
Because it's not for a while.
I know it's not for a while, but we always talk about fight announcements. We just talked about Weili and Carla. It's a fight announcement. Okay. I'm not going to break down the fight.
Fight announcements.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that it was a fight announcement. That's it. We got a ton of shit saying, "Oh, you guys don't like Khabib and you don't like Usman."
What the hell?
I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
First off, you need to stop. This is why I don't read comments, because when people say things that are just totally ridiculous,
John,
I don't want to sit there and read it and go, "Why did I read that?"
Sometimes I'm bored, and I'm bored a lot actually, because when I'm not traveling or I'm not out and about, I'll get bored. And like yesterday, I went mountain biking all morning. It was awesome, man. Awesome. 7 a.m. up on the mountain with me and a couple old guys, so I don't have to worry about losing to anybody. It was so great. We had a great time. They got some tacos, some street tacos afterwards. They were fucking bomb. And then got back down the hill by noon. We rode, I think, 7 or 8 miles. We rode up and down. Fucking awesome. Great time. Look, Usman Nurmagomedov. Everyone thinks that I'm hating on him. Everyone thinks because I didn't want to see him get the title fight so soon.
Yeah, that's because you didn't believe that he had enough experience, and you wanted him to be able to.
John, a lot of it's because people need to understand. A lot of it's because I care. I think there's no harm in taking one more fight. There's no harm, and give him someone he can beat all the guys in the majority of the guys in the top 10. I'd say pretty much all of them, except for, I would say, and I don't even know. I can't even.
Couple tough fights.
There's 3 tough fights for him. I look at Tofik, Shabli, and I think Primus would be a tough fight for him. I think because Primus's strength, Primus's size, all of those things. Usman's not a fast guy. Like Shabli's a fast guy. He's got fast hands, relaxation.
Primus is not a fast guy.
He's not a fast guy. That's what I'm saying. Primus is not a fast guy, but he doesn't do well against
Usman's.
Yes, exactly. Strength wise, I'd probably go with Primus. Grappling wise, I'd probably go with Primus. Stand up wise, I'd go obviously with Usman.
Yep.
Takedown defense in terms of stuffing takedowns, I'm gonna go with Usman. But it'd make for a fun fight. I just would like to have seen. He hasn't fought one ranked opponent, and I'm not taking a dig at my guy, man. He's my guy. I just would like to have seen him fight one ranked opponent before he got a title shot. Okay. Shabli just knocked out Primus, who was ranked number 2. Tofik just knocked out Outlaw, who was ranked number 1. Both of them, because of the rankings and the media doesn't watch Bellator, it's very obvious that they don't watch Bellator. Because Shabli is still ranked below Primus after just knocking him out. That lets me know they don't know what the fuck they're looking at. It's ridiculous. So I would like to have seen, I'm not taking anything away from Usman, I would like to have seen him fight one more time against a ranked opponent. He beat a very tough and talented Chris Gonzalez. Very, very tough Chris Gonzalez. Was able to finish him with the guillotine the first round, but Chris wasn't ranked. Chris is tough. We all know Chris has, and the ceiling's high with him. The potential is there. Still really young in his career, his MMA career. And Usman, the ceiling is very high with him. I wanted to see one fight, maybe one more, but I would just say one before he got to a title shot. But John, he's in a really shitty situation because you got Tofik, Shabli, and him. They all know each other. They all respect each other because of where they're from in the world. It puts them in an awkward situation. But when you talk to them, they're like, no, we used to all, compete sambo against each other. It's no different. I get it. It's no different. But it is different.
But it is.
There's a title at the top.
Yep.
It's different.
It's money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
More than a trophy.
How do you see that fight? How do you see? What's your take on Usman getting to the title shot? And what's your take on Patricky?
I thought the fight that should have been made was Tofik Musayev against Patricky because it's an easy build up. It's an automatic. They had a fight in Ryzen for the Ryzen lightweight tournament.
Yeah.
Patricky had run through everybody in that tournament. First round, 1 minute finishes.
Yeah.
And he runs into Tofik, and it was a great fight. If you want to go watch great fight, they both went at it. But it was clear in my mind by the end, Tofik deserved the win. He got it. I don't think Patricky was a little bit like perturbed by it. It's like, nope, they gave it to the right guy.
Yeah.
But it's an easy buildup. You could use all of it. So with the Usman thing, I think a lot of it has to do with the last name. The last name Nurmagomedov, because of what Khabib has done, it garners, attention. And I think Bellator looked at it and said, hey, this guy's undefeated. Let's give him the title shot now, and we'll see how he does. Yeah. I do think that there are elements in the fight where I look at Usman and I think he has an advantage. He has an advantage at speed, definitely. I know that, he's not the fastest guy, but he's faster than Patricky. Power goes to Patricky. Experience definitely goes to Patricky.
Yeah.
Being in bad positions at times and fighting their way through it goes to Patricky. The ground game goes to Patricky. So you're hoping the wrestling goes to Nurmagomedov.
Okay. Cardio is going to go towards Nurmagomedov.
The cardio, I believe, goes to Nurmagomedov, but the ground game goes to Patricky. So they both have their areas where you look and you go, stronger here, stronger here. The real difference is one has been in bad situations and gotten their way through it.
Yeah.
One's never really been in a bad situation. How does he get his way through it? He may not be put in a bad situation. He may go in there and walk right through them, or he may be put in bad situations, and we'll see how he does through it. But it's a good matchup. It's just a matchup that I would have made one fight later.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? I want to thank Big John McCarthy for powering through with COVID.
Thank you.
You are the fucking man, my brother. You are the man. I would have been in bed like a fucking coward, just fucking bundled up, head in a pillow. Screw you guys. That's what would have been me. But hey, go to WeighInPodcast.com, pick up some of our merch. We've got our 10-8, 10-9 round t-shirt where Josh is just dishing out 10-8 rounds like I did to Podcast Dave last night on text. It was awesome. Just destroyed him. It was annihilation. I'm actually going to screenshot that and post that up on my social media later for you guys to admire. Go to our WeighInPodcast.com, pick up some of our merch. Awesome t-shirts that are out right now. The new 5-round main event, the hashtag and still, hindsight's 50-50, the Joshisms is all out. And John, thanks, buddy, man. Great job today. Go blow your nose and take us.
Dude, so bad.
Take us away.
So bad. For everyone out there, I am sorry for the funky sounds and all the little differences.
Normally, it's
in my
me
voice.
making the funky sounds.
Couldn't help it, man. I was dying in here, but I hope you enjoyed the show. It was a great night of fights all the way through all the shows, but the UFC definitely lit it up. I hope you enjoyed this one. Go be good to someone. Do something kind just because you can. Make someone's day special. And here at the Weighing In Podcast, we will see you.